Good morning, dear friend. The first light is rising over the quiet earth, and the world has not yet begun to rush. There is something sacred about this early hour, when the air is still cool, when the streets are silent, and when the soul can finally breathe without interruption. Dawn is a gentle whisper, a reminder that even the longest night must bow to the coming of day. As the sky opens and pale gold brushes the horizon, it feels as if heaven is leaning close. Listening. Waiting. Somewhere this morning, a tired heart wakes up and wonders how to keep going. Maybe it is someone who cried themselves to sleep, hoping their pillow could hide the pain that no one else sees. Maybe it is a parent feeling invisible in their own home, or a child who wishes they could speak to someone who is gone. Maybe it is a person who has lost a relationship, a dream, or a piece of themselves they are not sure will ever return. The world asks them to be strong, to smile, to function. But inside they feel like a cracked vessel, trying not to spill what little hope is left. If you recognize some part of yourself in that picture, know this: you are not alone. There is a love greater than your fear, a strength deeper than your exhaustion, and a purpose that did not disappear with your tears. Every sunrise is a declaration that darkness does not win. You woke up today, and that means something. It means there is still a story being written, even if you cannot see the next chapter. This morning is not just another moment on the clock. It is an invitation, a gentle pull on the heart, a quiet knocking that says, "Come as you are, not as you pretend to be." Bring the pieces that do not fit and the questions that have no answers. Bring the anger, the loss, the numbness, the confusion. Bring the part of you that wants to believe and the part that is afraid to try again. There is no need to clean yourself up first. The one who formed your soul already knows every thought you have tried to bury. Nothing is hidden. Nothing disqualifies you. Faith is not about being perfect. Faith is the courage to whisper hope when everything else says give up. Prayer is not a ritual for the holy. Prayer is the breath of the broken, the quiet step of someone who refuses to quit. When you pray, you are not speaking into the air. You are stepping into a conversation that heaven has been waiting to have with you. So this morning, before the world demands your strength, pause. Let your heart be still. Let the light touch the places that have felt cold for too long. Open the door of your spirit, not with fear, but with a small and simple yes. A yes to comfort, a yes to healing, a yes to hope that feels fragile but real. You do not need perfect words. You only need willingness. The rest will come. Now, dear friend, let us walk gently into this sacred space. Let your heart soften. Let your mind quiet. Let this be the beginning of a tender journey where wounds can mend and peace can take root. The morning is waiting, and so is grace. Will you come, dear Heavenly Father? This morning I come with a heart that is both tired and hopeful. I open my eyes to the soft light of a new day. And though the night felt heavy, I choose to believe that your mercy is here in the quiet air around me. I do not hide from you. You see the places inside me that feel cracked, the memories that sting, and the questions that still do not have answers. I bring them all, because there is nowhere safer than your presence. I do not need to pretend to be strong. I do not need to disguise my weakness. I simply sit here before you and breathe, knowing that you hear even the prayers that never reach my lips. As the morning wind moves through the unseen spaces of my room, I ask you to move through the unseen places of my soul. Touch the wounds that I have tried to ignore. Touch the places I stopped believing could ever heal. I have carried burdens that do not belong on my shoulders, and some days it feels like I am walking with weights tied to my chest. But this morning I lay them down. I lay down fear, even the quiet fear that hides under my breath. I lay down the pressure to prove something. I lay down the worry that keeps me awake at night. The world tells me to wake up and be productive, but you invite me to wake up and be present. You invite me to breathe, to rest, and to receive. You know the tears I never let anyone see. You know the words I wish I could take back. You know the loneliness that's sometimes around my heart, like a cold blanket. So I sit here in the morning light, and I let myself be honest. I am tired of carrying the past. I am tired of silent battles. I am tired of pretending that I am fine. I choose to give this day to you, the way it is, not the way I wish it looked. Father, teach me how to start again. Let this morning be a gentle beginning. Let it be the first small step toward healing that lasts. I do not ask for a life without struggle. I ask for a heart that is not ruled by fear. I ask for peace that does not depend on circumstances. I ask for love that softens every place inside me that has grown hard. I ask for strength that rises from deep within, the kind that does not wear out when the day gets difficult. I ask for hope that breathes even when life feels quiet and empty. Remind me that I am not alone. Remind me that being human does not disqualify me from being loved. Remind me that you are close, closer than my next breath. Let this morning be the moment I choose to trust you just a little more than yesterday. Let this be the moment I choose to release what I cannot control. I put my relationships in your hands. I put my future in your hands. I put my silence, my sorrow, my hidden pain in your hands. I do not ask you to erase my story. I ask you to redeem it. Dear Father, if there is a closed door in front of me, give me patience to wait for the one you open. If there is a wound inside me that I have carried for too long, pour your healing over it like the soft rain that soaks the dry earth. If there is a person I need to forgive, soften my heart until forgiveness becomes possible. If there is someone I have hurt, give me humility to make things right. Let the sunrise be a reminder that nothing stays dark forever. Let this day hold even the smallest sign that healing is real and possible. I believe that you are here. I believe that new strength is rising. I believe that even when I cannot see the path ahead, your hand is guiding my steps. So I breathe in the morning air, and I welcome your peace. I welcome your presence. I welcome your hope, and I choose to move into this day with a heart that is open, even if it trembles, because I trust that you are with me, and that is enough. Give me wisdom for every word I speak today. Let kindness shape my tone and patience guide my reactions. When frustration rises, remind me that gentle responses carry more power than harsh ones. When anxiety whispers that I am not capable, remind me that I am held by grace. When old thoughts try to bring me down, speak truth louder than every lie. Let my mind be steady. Let my heart be calm. Let my spirit be rooted in love. If I meet someone who is hurting today, let compassion lead me. If I meet someone who is difficult, let understanding rise before judgment. If I feel unseen, remind me that you see me. If I feel overwhelmed, remind me to pause and breathe in the knowledge that I am not facing anything alone. Let every step I take be covered in peace. Thank you for this morning, for this breath, for this quiet moment where my soul finds rest. Thank you for new beginnings, whether they come in loud miracles or small gentle shifts. Thank you for holding me through the nights that felt too long. As the sun continues to climb, let light also rise inside me. Let hope rise. Let peace settle like warm light. And as I walk forward, let my heart stay open to the ways you will lead me. Father, as this new morning unfolds, I feel the quiet echo of the prayer I offered before the sun rose. The words still linger in my chest, soft and steady, and I step forward from that place of honesty into something deeper. I know you heard every part of me yesterday, even the pieces of my soul that I could not name. Now I come again, not because everything is fixed, but because something within me refuses to stop hoping. The light outside is pale and gentle, stretching across the sky, and I sense that you are stretching something inside me, too, loosening the knots that grief and fear have tied. Lord, I come with the cry that lives under my heartbeat, the silent cry that no one else hears. Sometimes it feels like my voice disappears the moment it leaves my lips, as if it is swallowed by the room around me. Yet I choose to speak again, because you are not like the world. You do not turn away. You do not ignore the tremble in my chest. You do not ask me to be louder or stronger. You listen to the smallest whisper, the faintest breath, the tiny spark of faith that has not gone out. So I speak to you in this quiet hour, trusting that you are near, God. There are moments when pain feels heavier than my own bones, when memories press on me like a stone I cannot lift. I try to forget, but the past has a way of returning, knocking on the door of my mind at the most unexpected times. Some wounds have faded, but others are still tender. Some nights I can sleep, and other nights I lie awake, wondering why certain heartbreaks refuse to heal as quickly as I wish. When the world sees strength, you see the fragile places I try to hide. When others think I have moved on, you know the tears I still hold inside. And yet you do not shame me. You simply draw closer. Dear Lord, I lift to you the places where disappointment has drained the color from my hope. I lift the fears that ride beneath my thoughts, the fears that whisper that nothing will change. I bring the part of me that doubts, the part that wonders if I am praying into emptiness. But even as that doubt speaks, a quieter truth rises beneath it. Something in my spirit knows that you are not done with me. Something sacred keeps leading me back to you, like a river returning to the sea. Faith is not a roar today, it is a small flame, but I offer what I have, believing that you can breathe life into embers that are almost cold. Father, help me believe that healing can reach even the deepest places inside my heart. Help me trust that wounds do not make me unworthy of love. Help me remember that broken pieces are not thrown away in your hands. When I feel too tired to stand, hold me steady. When the shadows of yesterday rise, let your light move through them. When fear tightens in my chest, loosen it with your peace. I refuse to let despair write the final sentence of my story. I will not surrender my heart to the darkness that tries to claim it. I choose to lift my eyes again, even if all I can see is the faint edge of dawn. Lord, teach me how to pour out my hurt without letting bitterness take root. Teach me how to feel deeply without drowning in the feeling. Teach me to cry without losing hope. I know you are not impatient with my tears. You count them, every single one, and you understand what they mean. You know the disappointments I hide behind a steady voice. You know the forgiveness I want to offer, but cannot yet speak. You know the words I long to hear from others, and the words I wish I had spoken sooner. Let this morning be a holy place, where nothing has to be perfect. Only honest. I ask you to touch the memories that still feel sharp. Touch the ones that shape how I breathe and how I love. Touch the moments that changed me in ways I never wanted. I am tired of carrying pain like a secret weight. Lift what is too heavy. Unwind what has been tangled. Let your gentleness reach into rooms inside my heart that have been closed for years. I do not ask for quick fixes. I ask for real healing, the kind that does not fade when the day grows difficult. If my voice trembles in prayer, let it tremble in your presence, because even trembling is a kind of faith. If I cannot find the right words, hear the ache beneath them. If my mind wanders, draw it back with tenderness, not anger. Meet me in the places where I feel the most fragile. Meet me in the spaces where silence has lived too long. Meet me here, where the morning light touches the edges of my day. And let this be the moment when something new begins to breathe. And as this morning stretches open, I ask for one simple mercy. Give me courage to hope again, even if hope feels small. Give me strength to trust that you are moving in ways I cannot see. Give me patience to wait, grace to heal, and peace to rest. Let my heart learn what it means to be held, even before I feel whole. Let the hours ahead carry traces of your kindness, woven through every step I take. Let this day rise with gentle promise, and let my soul rise with it. Lord, I am still here, carried by something greater than I understand. Yesterday, I whispered a trembling yes. I placed fragile hopes in your hands. And this morning, I feel something gentle and unfamiliar stirring like the first warmth after a long winter, quiet but alive. Maybe it is not the absence of pain, but the presence of something deeper that tells me I am not alone. Maybe it is the way I wake up with breath still in my lungs, light brushing my window, and the quiet truth that even in silence, you have been near, God. Today I find myself remembering not the pain, but the moments when you met me inside it. There was a night I thought I would break, and somehow the darkness passed. There was a conversation I dreaded, but peace arrived unannounced. There was a moment when I could not speak, and yet someone said the words I needed to hear. These were not accidents. These were not coincidences. They were miracles dressed in ordinary clothes. Moments when heaven broke through without warning. I remember now, and I choose to name them not just as memories, but as markers of your faithfulness. Father, help me remember more clearly, not just the facts, but the feeling, the way my chest opened with relief when the burden lifted, the way tears burned, not from pain but from release, the way light looked when I realized I had survived what I thought would crush me. You were there, always there, and though I forget so easily, though my mind rushes to the next fear, the next need, the next question, you never change. You are the same God today as you were in my yesterday miracles. So I slow down. I breathe, and I remember, Lord, I have not always recognized your hand. Sometimes I called it luck. Sometimes I dismissed it as timing. Sometimes I thought I had done it on my own. But when I look back now, through clearer eyes and a softer heart, I see how you guided me. I see the detours that protected me. I see the delays that saved me. I see the closed doors that became new paths. I see the relationships that ended and the loneliness that followed, only to discover that in that empty space, you drew closer than ever. I see it now, and I give thanks. I do not want to walk through life with selective memory, only recalling pain while forgetting rescue. I do not want to define my future through the lens of what was lost. I want to live rooted in remembrance, not nostalgia. but testimony. The kind of remembrance that steadies the soul when storms return. The kind that whispers, "You have seen his goodness before. You will see it again." The kind that builds courage without shouting. The kind that anchors me when feelings shift. I want to carry memory like a torch, lighting the way forward when the path is dim. God, I ask you now, remind me of one miracle I have buried beneath the weight of worry. Let it rise. Let it breathe. Let it speak. Let the memory not just stay in my mind, but flow through my body until my shoulders lower, my chest opens, and my hands unclench. Let it remind me that you are not only a God of beginnings, but a God of returns. A God who does not simply start the journey, but walks it with me, who does not just save, but sustains, who does not just deliver once, but again and again and again. Let this day be marked by remembrance. Let it be filled with small pauses where gratitude slips in unexpectedly. Let it be a day where I speak the stories out loud, even if only to myself. The stories of when you carried me, when you provided, when you spoke gently and I heard you. Let this not be a life that forgets. Let it be a life that sings of rescue, even in the waiting. A life that declares, I have seen the goodness of God, and I will see it again. When doubt creeps in, when fear presses close, when I feel forgotten or foolish or tired of trying, bring to mind what I cannot hold on my own. Remind me who you are. Remind me who I was in your arms. Remind me of the strength I had when I leaned into you. Remind me how the impossible felt possible for a moment, and let that memory become the seed of new faith today. Let that testimony not gather dust in my soul, but bloom again with fresh color. If I meet someone today who feels forgotten, help me tell a story, not a perfect one, not a dramatic one, just a true one. A moment you moved, a moment I knew you saw me. Let it be light for them too. Let it be a gentle reminder that they are not abandoned, not beyond the reach of grace. And as I remember, let me not grow proud, as if I earned the miracles. Let me grow humble, knowing they were gifts. Let my heart bow low, not in shame, but in awe. Awe that you would reach into my small life and leave fingerprints of glory. And as I move through the day, whether the sky stays bright or clouds gather again, let me carry this truth. I have been held. I have been helped. I have been healed in ways that words cannot fully describe. I have walked through valleys and found peace that made no sense. I have looked into the unknown and heard you say, keep going. I have broken and been rebuilt. I have wandered and been welcomed back. I have doubted and still been loved. So here I am. Remembering, here I am, thanking you for what I once prayed for. Thanking you for what I never even knew to ask. Thanking you for the mercy that came in disguise, for the grace that showed up as silence, for the protection that looked like disappointment, for the miracle that looked like a delay. I do not understand it all, but I remember enough to trust again. I remember enough to believe that this new day holds more than worry. It holds the presence of the same God who brought me through before. And that is enough to begin again. God, as memory settles like sunlight across the early corners of this day, I feel something different in my chest. The remembering has softened me, not just the details of rescue, but the realization that you were never far. Through all the seasons, I thought you were silent. You were steady. Through the nights, I believed you had left. You were closer than breath. I see it now. And even in the stillness of this moment, I feel the quiet weight of your presence. It is not loud. It does not demand attention, but it is here, and it is enough. Father, the world runs fast, even when I sit still. My thoughts chase each other. I reach for my phone. I remember unfinished conversations, unmet goals, unanswered messages. But right now, I choose to remain in this sacred pause. I let the noise fall to the side. I let urgency loosen its grip. I return to this breath, this space, this prayer, not because I am finished with everything else, but because I cannot move forward without remembering who I am in you, in your presence. The pressure to perform begins to lift. In your presence, the need to prove fades into quiet trust. Lord, I confess that I often rush ahead, trying to fix things before I have sat long enough to be still. I carry answers that I do not have. I pretend I am fine when I am not. I busy myself so I do not have to feel. I speak before listening, solve before seeking. But you wait. You do not push or pull. You simply wait for me to return to the place where I stop striving, the place where I let myself be held again. And here in this hour, before the day begins to pull me in every direction, I return. I sit with you, not for answers, not for outcomes, but for presence alone. God, teach me how to rest in you without guilt. Teach me that being still is not failure. Teach me that slowing down is not weakness. Let me unlearn the belief that I must earn peace or deserve love. Let me remember that I was made not only to serve you, but to be with you, that my soul was formed to commune, not to compete, that the most sacred work I can do today may be the silent surrender of my heart into your hands. Let this be a morning of receiving, not earning, not achieving, just receiving. Receiving breath without fear, receiving silence without discomfort, receiving love without condition. Let me feel it sink in deeper than words can reach the truth, that I am not here to impress you. I am here to dwell. You already delight in me, not because of what I do, but because of who I am to you. Because you formed me in love, called me by name, and have never let go. In this stillness, Lord, I sense you tending to parts of me I have ignored. I feel you moving through the fatigue I could not name. I feel you lifting heaviness I did not understand. I feel you quieting the thoughts that have chased me for days. It is not dramatic, it is not loud, but it is real. You are real, and you are here, like morning fog that wraps gently around the trees. Like the hush before the wind, like breath resting on breath. So I breathe with you, I match your rhythm. I let my soul sink with your stillness. I ask nothing for a moment. I simply let you be God and let myself be your child. Let me not rush this, let me linger. Let me soak in what the world tries to steal. Let me sit here long enough for peace to take root, and for anxiety to lose its voice. Let this stillness not be a pause between responsibilities, but a holy anchoring that changes how I move through every part of this day. Remind me that I do not need to understand everything to trust you. Remind me that clarity is not a requirement for closeness. Let me learn to be with you in mystery. Let me worship in silence. Let me trust without explanations. Let me lean into the quiet and find that the quiet holds more truth than noise ever could. Let this moment be a seed planted deep in my spirit that bears fruit when life becomes loud again. Father, I pray not only for stillness in this space, but for stillness in my reactions. Let me carry this calm into conversations. Let me walk with a heart that listens more than it speaks. Let me move through today without rushing past people. Let me be present wherever I am, unhurried, unguarded, and aware. I want to see others as you see them. I want to hear beneath the surface. I want to love without calculation. When tension rises, bring me back to this breath. When conflict finds me, remind me of this quiet. When I feel overwhelmed, anchor me again in the nearness I feel right now. Let this be the well I return to again and again, until your presence becomes the atmosphere of my entire life. Let it change the way I carry pain. Let it soften the way I hold others. Let it shape my words, my thoughts, my posture, and my pace. Thank you for this holy interruption. Thank you for drawing near when I did not know how to ask. Thank you for presence without pressure, for love without condition. Thank you for slowing my heart enough to feel again, to listen again, to breathe again. I do not want to leave this space unchanged. I want to be marked by this quiet. I want to carry it into every room I enter. Let others feel it when they sit beside me. Let peace ripple from the way I move, the way I pause, the way I speak. And if the day ahead becomes noisy, if the world demands more than I have, bring me back here, even if just for a moment. Remind me that I can return with a single breath, that your presence is not limited to this prayer, but is woven through every hour I will live today. Remind me that I am not alone. Not ever. That even when I forget to pray, forget to pause, forget to breathe, you are still near. And when I return, you are always ready to meet me again. Father, I carry the stillness from before like a soft thread through this new hour. The quiet of your presence lingers even as life begins to move again. And I realize that peace is not only found in silence, but also in truth. The deeper I rest in you, the more I feel you inviting me to be honest, not just about my hopes and faith, but about my wounds. Not the surface ones I can explain to others, but the quiet ones that still ache when no one is watching. The ones I have ignored, minimized, or hidden. I sense you asking me now, not to justify the pain or to dress it up, but simply to name it. Lord, I have spent so much energy identifying the people I believe caused the damage. I have told myself stories that made them villains and made me smaller. I have replayed moments that hurt and rehearsed what I would say if I ever had the chance. But today, you are leading me in another way. You are not asking me to name the enemies. You are asking me to name the wounds, to describe where it hurts, to trace the shape of what I lost. You are asking me to stop pointing outward and to look inward with gentleness, without shame, without blame. God, it hurts to look at some of these places. Some of them are raw. Some of them feel ancient, like they were passed to me before I even had words. Some came from people I trusted. Some came from moments when I felt forgotten or invisible. Some came from silence when I needed love and got nothing. Some came from words that should have never been spoken. And some came from my own hands when I failed myself or others. I do not want to carry these wounds like armor. I do not want to hide them or make them a part of my identity. I want to lay them before you, uncovered and named. Father, I name the wound of not feeling chosen, of believing I was an afterthought, watching others be loved while I waited quietly, afraid to hope. I name the wound of betrayal, of being left behind, of being lied to when I was vulnerable. I name the wound of feeling like I had to be perfect to be wanted. I name the wound of trying to be strong because no one else was coming. I name the wound of shrinking myself to make others comfortable. I name the wound of words that labeled me, boxed me in, and made me doubt my own voice. Lord, I do not name these to hold on to them. I name them to release them, to hand them to you as they are. I cannot fix them. I cannot go back and change what was done. But I believe you can touch what I cannot reach. I believe your healing is not just for physical pain, but for the invisible places that still bleed beneath the surface. I believe you can take what was buried and breathe new life into it. I believe that naming the pain is not weakness, but an act of sacred courage. And I choose courage today. Help me not to turn these wounds into weapons. Help me not to lash out from my pain or build walls to protect myself from ever being hurt again. I do not want to numb myself to survive. I want to feel again. I want to trust again. I want to walk through life open-hearted, even if it means I bleed sometimes. Because I believe you are a healer, not just of bodies but of stories. Not just of past events, but of the meaning they left behind. Rewrite the meaning, God. Let the wound no longer speak of shame, but of survival. Let it no longer echo with bitterness, but with grace. And Father, if there is someone whose name still tightens my chest, whose presence still awakens old anger or grief, I bring that name to you, not to curse them, not to justify myself, but to ask for release for me. And maybe, if I am honest enough, for them too. I do not want to carry this hurt like a banner. I want to carry freedom. I want to wake up and not brace myself for the memories. I want to walk into rooms without that heaviness pressing against my ribs. I want to love without reservation. I want to forgive without pretending that it never hurt. Lord, you know how much it hurt. You were there when it happened. You were there when I cried alone. You were there when I swallowed my emotions just to keep peace. You were there when I told myself to stop being sensitive, to move on, to be stronger. But you never said those things to me. You never dismissed me. You never called me too much. You held me. You listened, and now you invite me to speak freely, not for pity, but for healing, not for attention, but for restoration. So I let the pain surface, not to take over, but to be seen, to be named, to be healed. Help me stop minimizing what I have endured. Help me honor my story. Help me tell the truth, not as a weapon or a badge, but as a doorway to freedom. I am not afraid to look anymore, because I trust that you are looking with me, not with judgment, but with compassion. Let every wound I name become a place you touch. Let every scar become a place where light shines through. Let the story of my hurt become the testimony of your gentleness. Let the places I once avoided become sacred ground. Not because the pain is holy, but because your healing is. And as I move through today, Father, give me wisdom. Not everything that hurts needs to be said aloud. Not everyone needs to know my pain. But give me the discernment to know when to share, and when to sit in silence with you, when to open, and when to protect the sacred work you are doing inside me. Let the way I speak reflect the healing I am receiving. Let the way I walk reflect the wholeness I am stepping into. Let the way I love reflect the freedom you are pouring into me. Thank you for being a safe place. Thank you for receiving every wound without rushing me through it. Thank you for never turning away when I bring what is hard to hold. Thank you for reminding me that healing begins not with pretending, but with telling the truth. And today, I choose truth. I choose tenderness. I choose to believe that what has hurt me does not have the final word. That you, God of mercy, are speaking a better word over my life, and I choose to listen. Father, Something inside me shifted as I spoke the truth aloud. Not everything has changed, but I can feel the ground underneath my feet softening. I named the wounds, and in doing so, I felt the tension in my chest ease. Just slightly, like a locked door cracking open. I did not realize how long I had been holding my breath until I exhaled in your presence. I did not know how much energy I spent pretending I was fine until you invited me to tell the truth. Now, in this new stillness, I come again not to rush toward a solution, but to let you meet me in the place where healing begins to take root. Lord, I know that healing is rarely loud. It does not always come with a dramatic shift or visible change. Sometimes it is quiet, like water running deep underground, carving new space beneath the weight of heavy stone. Sometimes healing begins beneath the hardness we did not even know we carried. I have walked with parts of my heart hardened by disappointment, defense, and fear. But this morning, I feel something gentle moving beneath those layers. I feel your spirit flowing, patient and steady, reaching places I never thought could be touched. God, if I am honest, there are places in me that still resist, parts that clench when love gets too close, parts that shut down at the hint of vulnerability. I have learned to guard myself, to expect the worst, to keep control so I won't be surprised by pain. But you are not like the ones who hurt me. You are not harsh. You do not demand access with force. You come like a stream in dry places, not breaking the rocks apart, but washing over them, softening what time and sorrow hardened. I feel you doing that now, quietly, tenderly, unrelentingly. Father, I give you permission to go deeper, not because you need it, but because I need to say it. I need to open the door. I need to be the one who says yes, even when I am afraid of what that yes might uncover. Go beneath the surface, beneath the defenses, beneath the rehearsed answers I have used to keep people at a distance. Touch the places I have buried because I thought they were too complicated, or too shameful, or too broken. Let your love run underneath every stone I have stacked around my heart. Let it run until the hard places begin to shift. I do not want to live a life of surface healing, where I look okay on the outside but feel empty within. I want to be whole from the inside out. I want a soft heart, not just a strong one. I want peace that does not depend on perfection. I want joy that rises even when nothing is fixed. I want to be the kind of person who carries grace like water, who does not have to force or defend or prove. I want to live from a place of overflow, not exhaustion. So let your river move freely in me. Let it clear the debris I did not realize I had collected. Let it reach the places I have tried to manage instead of surrendering. Lord, remind me that I do not have to make myself worthy of healing. Remind me that I do not have to earn softness or prove I deserve comfort. Your love is not a reward. It is the source. It does not come after I have figured everything out. It meets me in the middle of confusion, in the middle of mess, in the middle of process. That is where I am now, somewhere in between the naming and the restoring, between awareness and freedom. And yet you are here, fully present, not impatient, not distant. Let this moment be a turning point, not a dramatic one, but a deep one. Let it be the morning when I stop striving to fix myself and begin allowing you to form me. Let it be the morning when the pressure to be okay lifts, just enough for me to breathe deeper. Let it be the morning when I believe, even if only a little more than yesterday, that I am loved right here, right now, in this unfinished place. I do not need to wait until I am stronger. I do not need to wait until I am further along. You are not waiting for me to perform. You are meeting me here, under the surface, where the real work is happening. God, show me what it means to be gentle with myself. Not passive. Not indulgent. Just gentle. The way you are. The way you correct without crushing. The way you lead without shaming. The way you invite without forcing. I want to carry that same spirit inside me as I speak to myself, as I speak to others, as I walk through this day. I want to live with the confidence that comes from knowing I am being healed, even if I do not feel it all at once. Even if some days are messy, even if I forget and have to return again. Let your river keep flowing. Let it wash over every forgotten part. And Father, let this healing not stop with me. Let it overflow into the people I love, the people I struggle with, the people I do not even know yet. Let the softness you are creating in me become a shelter for others. Let the wholeness you are forming be something I carry, not just privately, but in every room I enter. Let my words carry life. Let my presence carry calm. Let my eyes reflect compassion. Let my steps bring peace. When I am tempted to rush the process, to demand results, to prove something, bring me back here. Bring me back to the stream, running quietly under the stone. Remind me that depth takes time. Remind me that roots grow in the unseen. Remind me that you are not in a hurry. You are building something lasting. Something real. Something beautiful. Thank you for doing the slow work. Thank you for not giving up when I did. Thank you for tending to what I abandoned. Thank you for flowing beneath what I thought would never move. Thank you for the hidden healing. The kind that does not shout but changes everything. The kind that makes room for softness to return. The kind that turns stone into soil, fear into trust, and survival into true life. Let me live from that place. Let me love from that place. Let this river never stop. Lord, if you are the river running beneath the stone, then you are also the fire that purifies the gold. I sense that now, as your presence draws me deeper into the work you are doing within me. The softness I asked for comes not just through comfort, but through refinement. You do not merely soothe the surface. You go to the core. You see what is hidden behind the smile, beneath the strength, under the polished responses. And you, in your mercy, are not afraid to walk with me into the places that still burn. Father, I feel you asking me to trust not just your nearness, but your process. I used to believe that being close to you meant I would be spared the fire. I thought comfort was the reward of faith, but now I see that real closeness invites transformation, and transformation is rarely painless. Sometimes it looks like waiting longer than I wanted. Sometimes it feels like loss. Sometimes it stretches me so thin I wonder if I will hold together. But if you are with me in the fire, then I will not be consumed. If you are the refiner, then this heat has purpose. God, there are parts of me that still cling to what no longer serves me, parts of me that resist the letting go. I hold on to old patterns, old fears, old identities because they are familiar, but familiarity is not freedom. And you love me too much to let me stay bound. You are not content to let me survive in false peace. You want wholeness. So you invite me into the fire not to punish, but to purify, not to harm, but to heal, not to destroy, but to draw out what is holy. Refining is uncomfortable. It brings the impurities to the surface. It shows me things I did not want to see, the anger I buried, the pride I masked as control, the envy I justified as longing, the fear I dressed as wisdom. But you do not shame me when these things rise. You do not turn away in disgust. You stay steady and patient, guiding the process. You show me that what surfaces is not meant to condemn me, is meant to be released. You are skimming off what does not belong so that what remains can shine. Father, help me stay in the fire long enough to be changed. Help me not to jump out at the first sign of discomfort. Help me not to run to distractions or numbing. Help me not to beg for the fire to end, but to ask instead for eyes to see what you are doing through it. Refine my reactions, my motives, my attachments, my words. Purify the places in me that still demand control. Burn away the need to be understood by everyone. Burn away the craving to be seen as perfect. Burn away the hidden resentment I have carried like a secret weight. I want to be a person of depth, not polish. I want to be formed by truth, not applause. I want integrity more than ease. I want my faith to be forged, not just felt. If this is what the furnace holds for me, then give me the courage to remain, not with clenched fists, but with open hands, not with fear, but with surrender. Let me not confuse pain with abandonment. Let me not confuse silence with distance. Let me remember that even when I cannot see the purpose, you are shaping something eternal. God, remind me that fire is not the enemy, that the heat I feel may be the very evidence of your presence. You are not distant when things fall apart. You are not cruel when you allow loss. Sometimes you let what is false fall away so that what is true can remain. Sometimes you let me reach the end of myself so I can discover the strength that is only found in you. You are not dismantling me to destroy me. You are refining me so that I might reflect your image more clearly. There are places in me where bitterness has tried to grow. Places where old disappointments still whisper lies. Places where I have protected myself with coldness instead of courage. Refine those places. Bring heat to the corners of my soul where I have hidden grief and called it strength. Let your fire melt the frozen pieces. Break the stubborn pride. Soften the brittle edges. I do not want to be hardened by life. I want to be made new by love. Let this furnace become sacred ground. And Lord, I pray for the strength to walk through this with honesty. Let me name the pain without minimizing it. Let me grieve without apology. Let me be transformed without needing to explain the process to others. Not everyone will understand what you are doing in me. That is okay. This work is between you and me. This is holy. This is personal. Let the fire clarify my vision, sharpen my purpose, awaken the gifts you placed in me long ago. Let what once felt like suffering become the place where glory begins to rise. Teach me to bless the process, not just the outcome. Teach me to see refinement as a gift, not a punishment. Let me find peace in the heat, knowing that the fire has boundaries and the refiner's hand never leaves. Let me remember that what feels like breaking may actually be remaking, that what feels like loss may actually be clearing, that what feels like ending may actually be beginning. Your ways are higher than mine, but your heart is not far. You are close, even here. Especially here. Father, if someone I love is walking through their own furnace, give me grace to stand beside them, not to rescue, not to rush them, but to witness the process with compassion. Let me speak life, not judgment. Let me hold space without needing to fix. Let me trust that you are refining them too, in ways I may never understand. And when I see my own reflection in them, give me humility. We are all being shaped. We are all being purified. We are all learning to trust the flame. Thank you for being the kind of God who does not settle for surface healing. Thank you for being the kind of Father who stays in the fire with his children. Thank you for the work you are doing, even when I do not feel it. Thank you that nothing is wasted, not the waiting, not the weeping, not the wrestling. Every moment in the fire is seen by you. Every tear is counted. Every sigh is sacred. I trust you to finish what you have started. I trust you to refine me until only what is beautiful, strong, and true remains. Father, everything in me still carries the heat from the fire you walked me through. The refining has left me aware of what I have held onto too long, of what I have built around my heart, and of the gates it closed in the name of survival. Today, I feel you asking for something even more costly than surrender. You are asking me to forgive, not just in words, not as an idea, but as a lived posture. You are asking me to open the gate I locked behind me, the one I built from disappointment, betrayal, and fear, the one I hid behind while pretending I had moved on. Lord, I want to say yes. I want to step through. But you know how hard this is. You know how deeply some wounds still pulse. You know that to forgive is to risk. It feels like letting someone off the hook. It feels like saying what they did not matter. But you are showing me that forgiveness is not about pretending. It is not about denial. It is not about rewriting the pain. It is about releasing myself from a prison I did not realize I was still living in. Bitterness is a chain that tightens slowly. Resentment is a lock that seals from the inside. And I have been holding the key without even knowing. God, I need your help. I cannot will myself into forgiveness. I cannot force it. I have tried before, and it felt like failure when the emotions stayed. But maybe forgiveness is not a one-time act. Maybe it is a posture, a journey, a quiet undoing of walls, a choice I make again and again until the pain does not hold power anymore. Maybe it is choosing freedom over control, peace over pride, healing over justification. I want to live free, and you are showing me that freedom and forgiveness walk side by side. Father, bring to mind the places where I am still holding offense, not to shame me, but to set me free. Bring to mind the names that make my breath catch or my heart harden. Bring to mind the moments I have packed away in silence, pretending they no longer affect me. And when you bring them, help me not to flinch. Help me not to justify. Help me not to rehearse the pain. Help me simply name it. Hold it in the light with you, and choose to release what I was never meant to carry this long. I choose to forgive the ones who never apologized, the ones who walked away without explanation, the ones who lied, the ones who wounded carelessly, and the ones who wounded intentionally. I choose to forgive the ones who misunderstood me and never asked, the ones who turned their backs, the ones who left when I needed them most. I choose to forgive the absences, the silences, the betrayals, not because they were small, but because the weight of carrying them has grown too heavy for the soul you are restoring. And Lord, I also bring the names I can barely whisper, the people closest to my heart, the ones whose wounds cut the deepest because they were once my safest place. Help me forgive there too, in the places where love and pain are tangled, in the memories that carry warmth and grief in the same breath. I open the gate. I let the wind of your spirit move through the places I have sealed. And as I open, I ask you to walk through first. Be the one who holds the space, who absorbs the weight, who brings grace into the places where reconciliation may never come. Father, if reconciliation is part of the story you are writing, prepare my heart for that as well. Give me the courage to have hard conversations. Give me the strength to set healthy boundaries. Give me wisdom to know when to speak and when to stay silent. But remind me always that forgiveness is not the same as reconciliation. Forgiveness is the soil. Reconciliation is the fruit that only grows in the presence of mutual humility. I surrender the outcome to you. I stop trying to script what restoration should look like. I trust that you will write the next chapters in ways I never could. I also need to forgive myself. That is the hardest part. I need to forgive myself for what I did not know, for what I allowed, for who I were when I did not know better. I need to forgive myself for the harsh words, the impulsive actions, the silence when I should have spoken, the fear that kept me small. I have held myself in contempt for too long, punishing myself in ways no one else could see. But you do not speak to me with shame. You do not revisit my mistakes to condemn me. You touch them with tenderness, and you remind me that I am more than my past. So I open the gate within me too, the one that guards the version of myself I thought I had to be in order to be loved. I release the version of me who never made mistakes. I release the pressure to be perfect. I forgive the younger me, the afraid me, the angry me, the lonely me, the one who hurt others out of pain. I bring all of who I have been into your light, and I choose mercy, the same mercy you have never withheld from me. Lord, let forgiveness become my native language. Let it not just be something I practice, but something I carry. Let it shape the way I see the world. Let it soften the way I respond to others. Let it rewrite my instinct to defend or retaliate. Let it make me brave in love. Let it make me honest in weakness. Let it make me more like you. You who forgave in the middle of suffering. You who released even as the wounds were fresh. You who opened heaven while the world closed its heart. You who set the captives free by choosing mercy over revenge. Teach me to live that way. Teach me to carry that cross, not out of martyrdom, but out of conviction that love is stronger than offense, that peace is more powerful than payback, that healing is deeper than memory. Let forgiveness shape the way I walk into this day. Let it guide my words, my tone, my posture. Let it meet every trigger, every old wound, every difficult interaction. Let it be the first response, not the last resort. Let it be the air I breathe. And when I fail, when I fall short, when bitterness creeps back in like smoke under a door, let me return to this place. Let me start again. Let me remember that forgiveness is not about feeling it, is about freedom. And I was never made to live behind a locked gate. You made me for wide open spaces, for rivers that run free, for a life not bound by offense, but blooming with mercy. So here I am again, holding the key, choosing to open. Not once, but daily, as long as it takes, until love becomes the only gate I live behind. Father, if forgiveness is the gate I have opened, then now I come to lay down the record I have been carrying. 'Tis strange how even after I say I forgive, I still hold on to the weight of what has been done. Quietly, inwardly, I keep a ledger. I mark the disappointments, the betrayals, the wrongs, both spoken and unspoken. I tally the things they should have said. I calculate the distance between what I gave and what I received. And though I have opened the gate, part of me still clutches that ledger like proof that I was right to hurt. But you are calling me deeper, inviting me to release even this, to surrender the scorecard and walk freely, not just from the offense, but from the accounting of it. Lord, it is hard to admit how often I revisit the past, not to reflect but to relive. I go back to the conversations, the moments, the silences, the exits. I rework what I would have said. I reimagine what they should have done. And beneath all of it, I keep track. I do not call it revenge, but I withhold love. I do not say it aloud, but I build distance. I tell myself I have moved on, but in truth, I have just moved away with the record still in my hands. I do not want to live that way anymore. I do not want to count what you have already covered. I do not want to carry what you have already asked me to set down. God, I bring the ledger to you now. It is heavier than I thought. There are names in it that I forgot I still held. There are debts I have been collecting silently. Some were written in bold and others in tiny, subtle print, small offenses I never voiced but never released. Some of these names are strangers. Some are family. Some are friends I no longer speak to. Some are people I see every day. I lay each name before you. I lay each wound. I bring the pain, the silence, the distance, and I place it all in your hands. I do not want to keep score. I want to be free. Father, you remind me that I too have been on the other side of this ledger. I have hurt people. I have failed them. I have been careless with words. I have walked away when I should have stayed. I have misunderstood, assumed, withdrawn. And yet you did not keep a record of my wrongs. You did not build a case against me. You welcomed me back every time. Arms open, heart steady. You did not hand me a list of my failures. You covered them. You tore the ledger in half and called me redeemed. That is the grace I live in. How can I hold others to a standard you never placed on me? Still, I struggle. The part of me that wants fairness, that wants balance, resists this release. There is something in me that fears if I let go. It means what they did was acceptable. But you are showing me that grace does not deny the harm. It simply refuses to let it be my prison. It chooses mercy over memory. And forgiveness is not about forgetting it, is about choosing not to charge what has already cost too much. It is choosing to stop paying interest on a pain that has already been named. Lord, teach me how to live without the ledger. Teach me what it means to cancel the debts without hardening my heart. Show me how to remember what happened without being ruled by it. Let me love with open hands, not tight fists. Let me give without expecting repayment. Let me speak without waiting for apology. Let me serve without checking whether it is deserved. And let me be wise, not guarded. Let me set boundaries in love, not bitterness. Let me walk in grace, not calculation. Today, I tear the page, not just one, but all of them, the entire book, the entire silent accounting I have held in my soul. I do not need to prove who was right. I do not need to hold on to who owes what. I choose freedom. I choose to live unburdened by offense. I choose peace over precision. I choose to be known for grace, not resentment. Let that be my legacy, not the list of how I was wronged, but the story of how I released it. not the memory of my wounds, but the testimony of my healing. And Lord, I bring you the internal ledger too, the one I have kept against myself, the one with all my mistakes, regrets, and self-accusations. I have kept score in secret. I have punished myself with shame. I have made myself pay for things you already forgave. I have whispered blame in the quiet, convinced that I must do better, be more, earn worth, but you never asked for penance. You only asked for presence. You never handed me a debt to repay. You handed me love, unearned, unmeasured, unending. So I let go of what I thought I owed. I stop rehearsing the guilt. I stop calculating whether I have done enough. I stop measuring myself against invisible standards. I come as I am, not polished, not complete, but honest. And you receive me. You do not flinch. You do not keep count. You hold me without conditions. That is the grace that changes everything. And if you can love me like that, how could I not pass it on? Let this day be marked by the release of every unspoken debt. Let my spirit walk freely through conversations, even hard ones, without rehearsed bitterness. Let me see people not as what they did or failed to do, but as fellow wanderers trying to heal. Let me approach conflict with compassion. Let me listen to understand. Let me speak to build bridges, not burn them. Let me live with the same mercy I wake up to each morning. Father, when I feel the ledger rise again, when old pain resurfaces or new disappointment knocks, remind me that I have already chosen freedom. Let me return quickly to grace. Let me remember that keeping score costs me peace. Let me remember that I am not the judge, not the avenger, not the one who decides what is fair. I am the one who forgives, who releases, who loves anyway. Thank you for showing me the better way. Thank you for letting me live without a record of wrongs. Thank you for the joy that rises when burdens fall. Thank you for the beauty of mercy lived out in real time. Thank you for reminding me that I am most free when I hold nothing against another, not even myself. This is how I want to live. Unweighted, unarmed, unafraid, with hands open and heart wide, ready to begin again. Lord, as the ledger is laid down, I feel the quiet space it leaves behind. Something in me is lighter, though I cannot fully explain it. Forgiveness is not a single breath, but I have taken another step, and that step has made room inside my soul. Room for peace, room for joy, room for something new to grow where resentment once lived. I sense you inviting me now to learn how to walk differently, to move through this day and the ones that follow without the weight I used to carry so tightly against my chest. Father, I do not always know how to live without old burdens. They became familiar. They became part of how I understood myself. Sometimes I catch myself reaching for them, as if they were armor. But bitterness is not armor. Shame is not armor. Fear is not armor. They protected me once, or at least I thought they did. But now they only limit the life you are trying to lead me into. You want more for me than survival. You want me to flourish, to breathe deeply, to laugh freely, to trust again, to love without suspicion. That kind of living requires empty hands, and I am learning to unclench mine. God, give me courage for this new kind of walking. Courage to greet people without assumptions. Courage to sit in conversations without rehearsing defenses. Courage to show kindness without calculating risk. Courage to hold hope without fearing disappointment. There was a time when hope felt dangerous, like opening a window during a storm. But hope does not make the storm stronger. It simply lets light in. If I am to live the life you have called me to, hope must become part of my steps again. Teach me to move freely. Teach me to stand tall, not bowed beneath old stories. Teach me to let my heart lift when joy arrives, even if sorrow once sat in the same chair. Sometimes I feel guilty for feeling happy, as if happiness betrays the depth of my pain. But you are showing me that healing is not disrespect. Restoration does not erase what was lost. It honors the journey by letting something new be born from it. You are not asking me to forget. You are asking me to live. Lord, there are moments when freedom feels unfamiliar. The heart that forgave still remembers how to ache. The hands that released still tremble at the thought of being hurt again. But freedom is not the absence of memory. It is the absence of chains. And today, I choose freedom, not perfect freedom, not fearless freedom, just honest freedom, where I acknowledge the trembling and still move forward. Help me walk one step at a time, one conversation at a time, one breath at a time. Healing does not need to be rushed. It only needs to be real. Father, I ask you to show me what to do with the emotional space forgiveness creates. When bitterness leaves, it leaves emptiness behind, and emptiness can feel frightening. I am tempted to fill it quickly with distraction, with work, with noise. But you are inviting me to let that space breathe, to allow peace to settle where tension once lived, to let gentleness soak into the cracks that anger carved, to let rest take the place of resentment. So I take a slow breath, deeper than before, and I let that peace expand without apology. If there are parts of me still clinging to the old pain, meet me there without impatience. Healing rarely happens in a straight line. Some days I will feel free. Some days I will feel fragile. Some days the past will knock louder than I expect. But I am not alone in any of it. When memories rise, you will steady me when fear whispers. You will remind me that I am safe. When doubt creeps in, you will speak truth louder than its lies. This is how I will learn to walk differently, not by perfection, but by your presence. Lord, let this new freedom become visible in the way I speak. Let my words be softer. Let my tone carry kindness even when conversations grow tense. Let my responses come from the quiet place you are forming inside me, not from the old wounds that once drove me. Let me be slow to take offense, quick to understand, and ready to extend grace. Not because others deserve it, but because I am learning to live unburdened. And teach me to walk lightly within myself, to stop criticizing every flaw, to stop replaying every mistake, to stop holding myself hostage to who I used to be. You are not rehearsing my failures, so why should I? You are not tallying my weakness, so why keep score against myself? Let self-compassion grow where self-condemnation once thrived. Let my inner voice sound more like yours, steady, truthful, loving, patient. Father, I want to carry freedom into my relationships. Let the people in my life feel safer in my presence, not because I pretend to be perfect, but because I am learning to forgive, release, and move forward. Let my home be a place where grace is practiced, not just preached. Let my friendships be marked by honesty, not fear. Let my family see the quiet transformation you are working inside me, not because I announce it, but because peace has changed the way I live. And if there are relationships that cannot be restored, let me walk away without bitterness. Let me release what cannot return. Let me bless what must end. Not every story is meant to continue. Not every door is meant to reopen. But even when distance is permanent, I can still live free. I can still love from afar. I can still pray without anger, remember without pain, and hope without expectation. That too is part of healing. Lord, help me learn the rhythm of a heart that is no longer weighed down. Help me laugh without suspicion. Help me rest without guilt. Help me trust without needing guarantees. Help me believe that love is still worth offering, even in a world where heartbreak is real. Help me see that freedom is not the absence of risk, it is the presence of courage. And with you beside me, I can be brave enough to walk forward. Thank you for every chain that has fallen. Thank you for every burden that has lifted. Thank you for every quiet shift I cannot fully explain. Thank you for showing me that forgiveness is not a loss of strength, but the birth of it. I will keep walking, slowly, gently, honestly, learning the shape of this new freedom, one step at a time. God, as I continue walking lighter, free from the debt I once clutched so tightly, I feel you turning my gaze toward the people closest to me, the ones whose names live not just in memory, but in my bones. My family, the ones I grew up with, the ones I lost, the ones I still reach for. Forgiveness in distant relationships is hard, but forgiveness in the home runs even deeper. These are not strangers. These are the people who shaped me. And now you are asking me to bring even these sacred ties into the light, not to erase them, but to release what has been tangled. Father, I think of the parent I longed to understand, the one who may have done their best, but their best still left me with questions. I think of the silence between us, or the tension that never found words. I remember the times I felt small in their presence, not because they meant to diminish me, but because their wounds spoke louder than their love. I bring those moments to you not with blame, but with truth. I needed something I did not receive, and that shaped something inside me. But you, who call yourself a father to the fatherless, you see the child I was and the adult I am still becoming. You were there when they could not be. I think of the siblings I shared space and time with, some still near, some now distant. I remember both the laughter and the sharp edges, rivalries that never healed, competition that became comparison, moments where we failed to protect each other, to listen, to truly see. Lord, I bring these bonds to you. I do not know how to untangle them. I do not know how to fix what was broken before we had words to name the break. But you are a God of restoration. You know how to rebuild what time and silence have worn thin. And I think of the children, those I have raised or wished to raise, the ones I have loved with all I had, and yet I still worry I have failed. Lord, I carry the weight of every word I wish I could take back. Every day I was too tired, too distracted, too afraid. I know I can go back and rewrite the story, but I can invite you into the pages we have not yet turned. Help me love them with a freer heart. Help me listen more and correct less. Help me speak blessing over them, not fear. Let them grow in the safety of grace, not performance. God, I lift up the family I have chosen, spouses, close friends, partners in life's journey. These are the ones I cling to now, and yet these too come with their own fractures, expectations unmet, patterns repeated, needs miscommunicated. Some of these relationships feel tired, some feel tense, some feel holy and difficult all at once. Teach me to stay present, Teach me to see them as you do, not through the lens of my wounds, but through the eyes of grace. Let me not punish them for the pain others caused. Let me not demand perfection when you have called me to love. Let my forgiveness be alive here too. Father, you know the generations that came before me, the stories passed down, the traumas inherited, the behaviors I have absorbed without knowing their origin. Today, I lift the family line to you, not just my immediate circle, but the long thread of ancestry woven through my blood. I ask you to bless it, to redeem it, to break cycles where they must be broken, and to bless what is good, letting it grow stronger. Let the patterns of pain end with me. Let the patterns of peace begin now. Let the legacy I leave be different than the one I carried. Sometimes I wonder why family wounds cut the deepest. Maybe because we never expected the hurt to come from love. Maybe because we still hope. Even after all this time, I lay that hope at your feet too. Not because I want to stop hoping, but because I want to hope rightly. I want to trust you with the outcomes, with the reconciliations that have not come, with the conversations that still feel impossible, with the letters I never sent, with the empty seats at tables, with the hugs that never happened. I surrender these stories. They are too heavy for me to carry alone. Lord, if there is a phone call I need to make, give me courage. If there is a boundary I need to set, give me clarity. If there is a heart that has grown cold, give me patience. If there is an apology I owe, give me humility. Let love be the goal, not control. Not agreement, not even closeness. Just love, real, unforced, unmanipulated love. The kind that lets people be who they are while choosing to bless them anyway. And if some relationships are too fractured to return to, show me how to love from afar. Teach me what it means to release with compassion, to forgive without reopening the wound, to let go without bitterness, to honor the good and release the rest, to trust that you, the God of all comfort, can hold what I cannot hold, mend what I cannot mend, and reach those I cannot reach. That is too great a task for me, but not for you. Father, I ask you to bless my family, even if I do not know how to be near them right now. Bless the ones who raised me. Bless the ones who walked away. Bless the ones I misunderstood. Bless the ones who stayed when it was hard. Bless the ones who failed and the ones who tried. Bless the ones who built something beautiful from brokenness. And bless the ones who still do not know how to heal. Cover them with your mercy. Meet them in ways I never could. Thank you for reminding me that blood is not the only thread that makes us family. Thank you for the chosen family, the friends who became anchors, the spiritual mothers and fathers, the siblings of the soul. These, too, are sacred gifts. These, too, carry the fingerprints of heaven. Let me cherish them. Let me nurture these bonds with care, with time, with truth. Let me not take for granted the rare grace of being seen and loved without conditions. God, if reconciliation is your plan, prepare my heart. But even if not, let forgiveness flow anyway. Let it rise like a gentle river between all that has been said and all that is still left unsaid. Let it quiet the echoes. Let it wash away the sting. Let it speak louder than history. Let it be the legacy I choose to live and leave behind. One of release, one of peace, one of love that does not give up, even when words fall short. As I carry my family in my heart today, let my thoughts be soft. Let my words be healing. Let my presence carry light. Not weight. Let my love be clear. And let this prayer be the thread that holds us all together, even when distance, time, or pain has pulled us apart. Father, as I carry the names of those I love and the echoes of what has passed between us, I find myself sitting with another invitation one. I feel you pressing gently but firmly into the center of my being. You are asking me to look at the way I speak, the words I choose, and the tone that carries them, even after forgiveness, after surrender, after healing has begun. I still hold great power in my voice. And now you are inviting me to use that power not to win arguments or defend my pain, but to mend what has been torn, to speak as one who has been made whole, even while still in the process of healing. Lord, I have used words carelessly, not always with cruelty, but with impatience, with defensiveness, with the edge that comes from wounds I thought I had buried. Sometimes I speak from fear, sometimes from pride, sometimes simply from habit. I raise my voice when I feel unheard. I withdraw it when I feel rejected. I sharpen it when I feel threatened. And even when I do not intend harm, I leave traces of it behind. I see now that healing is not just internal, it must move through my mouth, through my actions, through the way I engage the world around me. Teach me how to speak differently. Teach me how to pause before I respond, to breathe before I react. Let my first instinct be compassion, not correction. Let me choose clarity over control, grace over being right. Let my conversations carry the tone of someone who has encountered mercy too many times to forget it. Let my voice not echo the world's tension, but your calm. Let me carry your stillness into spaces of conflict, not because I always have the answers, but because I carry the presence of one who does. God, when I am misunderstood, give me the wisdom to know when to explain and when to release. When I am accused, give me the strength to speak with integrity and not with fire. When I am tempted to use truth like a weapon, remind me that truth without love cuts deeper than silence. When I feel anger rising, show me the softer strength that does not need to overpower in order to be powerful. Let my words be strong in spirit but soft in delivery. Let them heal, not harden. Let them reach, not push. I do not want to use silence as a weapon either. Help me recognize when silence is wisdom and when it is avoidance, when it is protection and when it is pride. There have been times I have withheld words that could have brought healing. Times I could have said, I am sorry, or I understand now, or I forgive you, but I stayed quiet, waiting for the other person to move first, waiting for proof that I would not be hurt again. But real love speaks first. It risks. It reaches. It does not wait for perfection to extend peace. Father, I ask you to guard my words today, not with fear, with purpose. Let my tongue not be a spark that ignites old pain, but a stream that cools the heat of disagreement. Let me be slow to respond when my pride is touched, but quick to speak blessing over others. Let me say thank you more often. Let me express what I appreciate instead of waiting until it is too late. Let me offer encouragement where I might usually offer critique. Let me speak life over my home, my workplace, my friendships, even in my own thoughts. And Lord, when I speak to myself, let those words be honest but not cruel. I have torn myself down in ways I would never speak to someone else. I have called myself names in silence. I have whispered unkindness over my own soul. But you never speak to me like that. You never belittle me. You never rush me. You never mock me for stumbling. So let my internal dialogue begin to sound like yours, truthful, yes, but drenched in compassion. Let the way I speak to myself become the training ground for how I speak to others. Give me the courage to apologize when I have caused harm, even unintentionally. Let my pride not stand in the way of restoration. Let my sincerity be stronger than my need to be right. Let my humility open doors that arguments never could. Help me to be quick to repent and slow to accuse. Let my words reflect the softness you have been forming in me these past days, this deeper well of kindness I did not know was possible until I began to release what I once gripped so tightly. God, for the conversations I fear, those I have been avoiding, prepare me. Give me discernment. Show me when to speak and when to wait. When to confront with love and when to simply let go. When to open space for someone else to be heard and when to hold my ground in peace. I do not want to use words to manipulate or manage. I want them to be honest and clean, simple and sincere. Let there be no hidden hooks, no veiled accusations, no unspoken contracts wrapped in sweet tones. Let truth and love walk hand in hand out of my mouth. When I talk with my family, let love be louder than past history. When I talk with coworkers, let patience lead. When I talk with strangers, let kindness show. And when I talk with those I disagree with, let respect and curiosity guide the way. I will not always say everything right, but if I stay soft, if I stay present, if I keep listening to you between my sentences, I trust you will shape even my stumbles into something useful. Father, thank you for the power of words. Thank you for the ways they have healed me, for the voices that spoke grace when I least deserved it. Thank you for the phrases that lingered long after the moment passed, the ones that lifted me, reminded me, steadied me. Let me now become a source of that for others. Let my words matter not because they are eloquent, but because they are true, because they are healing, because they come from a heart that has been held by you. This morning, I choose to speak with intention, to bless, not bruise, to offer, not demand, to reach, not retreat, to confess when needed and affirm where possible, to speak less when silence is sacred, and to speak boldly when truth must be said in love. Let this day be marked by the tone of grace, carried gently through every sentence, every exchange. Let my words not seek to win arguments, but to win hearts. Let them mend what I once believed could never be repaired. Father, as you have softened my words and reshaped the way I speak, I sense you gently turning me now toward action. The inner work has been holy, and the healing has touched places I did not know were still wounded. But now comes the part that requires movement, not in grand gestures or sweeping transformations, but in something far more vulnerable, a simple act of reaching out. A call, a message, a step toward someone who has lived too long in the shadow of silence. You are asking me to risk connection again, to lean into discomfort not for the sake of resolution, but for the sake of love. Lord, I want to pretend this is easy. Just the thought of it stirs something inside me, an old mixture of hope and fear. What if I am misunderstood? What if my intentions are questioned? What if nothing changes? But you are reminding me that obedience is not measured by results. It is measured by willingness. You are not asking me to control the outcome. You are asking me to be faithful in the reaching, to pick up the phone, to send the message, to take the step that opens the door, even just a crack. You are asking for courage. Not perfection. God, you see the name on my heart right now. You know who I have been thinking about. Maybe it is someone I have avoided for years. Maybe it is someone I talk to often, but only on the surface. Maybe it is someone I miss deeply, but do not know how to approach anymore. Whoever it is, you see the story between us. You know every layer, every detail, every silent moment that built the distance. And you also see the flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, a new kind of connection is still possible. Help me, Lord, to know the difference between reopening a wound and replanting a seed. Some relationships need space to heal. Others need the light of honest presence. Show me which this is. Show me if it is time, if today is the day, if this is the moment you have been preparing me for. And if so, give me the words, not perfect ones, but true ones. Let my tone be soft. Let my posture be low. Let me carry peace, not pressure. Let my heart remain open, even if the response is not what I hope. Father, I confess that sometimes I wait for the other person to move first. I tell myself they should be the one to reach out. I wait for a sign that they are ready. But what if they are waiting too? What if both of us are standing behind walls, hoping the other will knock? Break that pattern today. Break the cycle of waiting and withholding. Give me the courage to be the one who steps forward. Not because I am stronger, not because I have more answers, but because love moves first. Love always moves first. If the conversation is short, let me honor it. If it is awkward, let me stay steady. If it ends in silence, let me hold that silence with grace. My calling is not to fix or force, it is to plant. A word, a gesture, a small act of reaching. That is enough. You will do the rest. You will water what needs to grow. You will mend what needs restoring. You will guide what needs time. My part is to show up, to be faithful, to trust that nothing is wasted, not even a text that goes unanswered. Lord, remind me that even small steps are sacred. One call may not heal years of hurt, but it can soften the edge. One message may not repair the past, but it can start something new. One gentle presence can speak what no apology ever could. Let me not underestimate what you can do with a willing heart. Let me not discount the power of one act of obedience. You have done more with less. You have turned small seeds into forests. You have turned whispered prayers into turning points. And if the person I am reaching out to has hurt me, help me approach with wisdom and softness. Let boundaries be clear. Let motives be pure. Let healing, not justice, be my aim. I do not want to reopen old arguments. I want to open a new way forward. Let the call I make carry your voice, within it a voice that calms fear, that restores dignity, that reminds both of us that we are still capable of love, still worthy of grace, still invited into a story that is not over. Father, if I make this call and nothing changes, remind me that faithfulness is never wasted. Remind me that obedience carries its own reward. Remind me that peace begins in the soul of the one who chooses it, not in the reaction of the one who receives it. Let my action be rooted in love, not in need. Let my words be born from surrender, not strategy. Let the echo of this moment ripple in ways I may never see. And Lord, if the one I feel led to reach out to is no longer here, if the call I long to make can't be answered on this side of eternity, meet me in that H. Receive the words I never got to say. Hold the sorrow that lingers. Let me write the letter. Speak the truth. Release the weight. Let healing still come, even when reconciliation can't. Let freedom still rise, even in the absence of closure. You are not limited by death or distance. Your grace reaches beyond time. Your mercy wraps around every unfinished chapter. God, I also ask for courage for those first calls that do not involve mending, but beginning. Calls that start friendships, calls that say, I see you, I want to know you, calls that open the door to community and belonging. Sometimes those are the hardest. The risk of vulnerability, the fear of rejection. But you are calling me not just to heal what was broken, but to build what has never existed. Help me plant new seeds of connection. Help me become a person who initiates, who includes, who invites others into warmth. Thank you for being the God who made the first move toward me. Thank you for reaching out when I turned away. Thank you for calling me by name when I did not think I was worth calling. Now let me carry that same spirit of initiation. Let me reach with the heart of heaven. Let my voice be an extension of yours. Let my message carry hope. Let my presence be peace. Let this first call, however simple or shaky, become a doorway to something only you could write. Let me be faithful enough to dial and brave enough to wait with grace. Father, after taking that first step, making that call, sending that message, something in me feels both lighter and more exposed. It is strange how the smallest act of reaching out can stir such deep things. Hope, vulnerability, the H of uncertainty. Even when my heart is sincere, even when I move in obedience, I can predict how the other person will respond, and that is where I find myself today, in the in-between. In the place where grace meets the walls someone else still holds up. And I need your help to remain tender here. Lord, I did not realize how much I wanted the response to be warm. I told myself I would be okay no matter what, that just showing up was enough. But somewhere inside me, I was hoping for a miracle. A breakthrough, a flood of relief. And when it did not come, when the response was silence or guarded or uncertain, I felt disappointment creeping in like a quiet tide. I do not want to let that disappointment turn into resentment. I do not want to let unreturned love become another wound I carry. I want to stay open, even here. Especially here, God. Teach me how to love without needing to be received in return. That is harder than I thought it would be. I say that I give freely, but so much of me still longs for connection, for mutual understanding. And you are not asking me to deny that longing. You are just inviting me not to be led by it. You are asking me to root my love in your faithfulness, not in someone else's reaction. That is the kind of love you show me, steady, unchanging, offered without pressure or agenda. Love that moves first and stays, even when it is not returned. So here I am again, laying it down. The need to be acknowledged, the need to be understood, the need to feel progress. I lay it all at your feet, not in defeat, but in trust. If the heart I reached out to is not ready, you know why. If the words I spoke were received but not returned, you saw it. If the door I gently knocked on remains closed, you are still good. You are not measuring me by the reaction I receive. You are watching the posture of my heart. And even now, as the echoes of silence ring, I choose to stay soft. Father, show me how to stand in the tension without letting it harden me. I do not want to retreat into old habits, into distance, sarcasm, withdrawal, or coldness. I want to remain tender. I want to believe the best. I want to love with resilience, not resentment. But I will need you to remind me that grace is not weak. Grace is a warrior. Grace keeps showing up. Grace does not need to break down someone else's walls in order to stay kind. Grace is strong enough to wait, to hold space, to breathe even when the air feels thin. If this relationship is one that you are still working on, give me patience to walk at your pace. Let me not push, not demand, not manipulate. Let me simply be present, available, consistent, sincere. Let the seeds I have planted fall where they may. Some may bloom quickly, others may take time, and some may never grow the way I hoped. Still, I will not stop planting. I will not stop showing up with an open heart, because that is who you are shaping me to be. Lord, I also ask for eyes to see what I cannot. Sometimes I interpret quiet as rejection, distance as dismissal, but perhaps the person I reached out to is fighting their own battles. Perhaps they are afraid. Perhaps they are not ready. Perhaps they do not know how to respond. Remind me that not every closed door is a final answer. Some are temporary. Some are protective. Some are invitations to pray, not to press. Help me to honor where they are without compromising who I am becoming. And if there is another step you are asking of me, another call, another message, another gesture of grace, give me clarity, not out of desperation, but out of obedience. Let me not confuse persistence with control. Let me not act from fear of being forgotten. Let me only move when you lead, and let me stay still when you ask. Teach me the quiet art of discernment, the beauty of knowing when to lean in and when to step back. God, you know how hard this is, to keep loving when there is no visible reward, to keep forgiving when the apology has not come, to keep hoping when everything looks unchanged. But this is the love you have modeled for me. Love that waits at the door. Love that does not rush. Love that does not keep score. Love that whispers truth in silence and holds compassion even in delay. That is the kind of love I want to live out, not just in theory, but in practice. Not just with strangers, but with the ones closest to my heart. And Father, while I am waiting for walls to lower, I ask you to tend to my own, because I build them too. Subtly, quietly, I tell myself I am just protecting my heart, but sometimes I am avoiding intimacy. Sometimes I am afraid of being seen in my longing. Sometimes I pretend not to care because caring feels risky. Break down the walls in me first. Let me become the kind of person who does not require defense to feel safe. Let me trust that with you, vulnerability is never weakness, it is where your spirit moves. Thank you for meeting me here, for reminding me that grace does not always look like a happy ending. It often looks like a quiet beginning. A soft heart where a hard one once lived. A peaceful silence where bitterness once echoed. A willingness to stay kind, even in uncertainty. Thank you for teaching me that the real miracle is not always in the other person's response, it is in my response. In the fact that I showed up, that I stayed soft, that I kept choosing love. As I walk into this day, I carry no demand. Only hope. I expect nothing, but I remain open. I hold no bitterness. Only blessing. I ask for nothing in return, but I keep extending what I have received. Let this be enough. Let this be sacred. Let this be where healing continues, one gentle step at a time. Let grace continue flowing, even when it meets a wall, because grace knows how to wait. Grace knows how to stay. Grace knows that nothing is wasted when love is the reason. Father, in the space between extending grace and waiting for it to return, something unexpected has begun stirring in me. Not certainty, not closure, but joy small. Almost unfamiliar, like the first warm breeze after a long winter. And even as I feel it rising, I notice myself holding back. I brace. I question. Can I trust this feeling? Is it safe to feel light again when so much has been heavy? You know how deeply I have been wounded, how long disappointment has sat beside me. And now, as joy dares to knock, I need you to help me open the door. Lord, I did not realize how much I had tethered joy to outcomes. I told myself I would rejoice when relationships were restored, when closure came, when I was no longer misunderstood, when the pain had a neat ending. But you are teaching me that joy is not reserved for the end of the story. It is scattered like grace through the middle of it, through the mess, through the silence, through the unknowing. I have been waiting for circumstances to change before allowing myself to feel free. But freedom starts within, and joy does not need permission from pain to bloom. God, help me trust joy again. It has felt dangerous at times, like a setup, like something I should resist in order to protect myself from the next fall. Disappointment trained me to expect the worst, to brace, to prepare for the letdown before the moment even came. But that is not how you lead me. You do not prepare me with fear. You do not ask me to anticipate heartbreak as a form of wisdom. You are not the voice that says, "Do not get your hopes up." You are the one who says, "Lift your eyes." So I lift them now, even if only for a moment. I look for joy not in grand gestures, but in small, ordinary mercies. In the first sip of morning coffee, in the softness of my bed after a long day, in the sound of laughter I did not expect, in the memory that no longer stings, in the strength I feel returning, in the breath I did not think I would catch again. Let joy find me in the mundane. Let it meet me in motion. Let it bloom even in the shadow of what is unresolved. Father, help me release the guilt I feel for enjoying life while others suffer. I have told myself that to be good is to be solemn, that to be compassionate is to carry a low voice and a heavy heart. But joy and sorrow are not enemies. They are companions. They sit beside each other at the table of humanity. I do not need to earn joy through suffering, and I do not need to diminish joy in order to prove my depth. You created me for both, and when joy is honest, it becomes strength. When it is welcomed, it becomes medicine. If laughter comes today, let me laugh without apology. If beauty surprises me, let me take it in fully. If I feel light for a moment, let me savor it without looking over my shoulder. I am not betraying my process by embracing joy. I am honoring it, because every step I have taken to forgive, to release, to soften, that was the clearing of space. And joy is now moving into what bitterness used to occupy. Let me receive it as the fruit of healing, not a trick of emotion. Lord, I know joy is not always loud. Sometimes it comes as stillness, as a breath that does not rush, as peace that rests quietly beneath the chaos. Sometimes it looks like saying yes to an invitation I almost turned down. Sometimes it looks like standing in the sun a few seconds, longer than necessary. Let me notice joy. Let me name it when it comes. let me tell the truth about it to myself. To others, let me speak of goodness as freely as I have spoken of grief. And when the fear of future pain tries to steal this moment, remind me that joy is never wasted. Even if what I am hoping for does not come to pass, the joy I felt today was still real. It still mattered. It still marked me. And it built resilience I will carry forward. You are not asking me to pretend life is perfect. You are asking me to acknowledge that even here, even now, beauty is present. Joy is not a denial of pain. It is a declaration that pain does not get the final say. God, teach me how to rejoice with others again. Sometimes it is hard. Their blessings remind me of what I am still waiting for. Their healing reminds me of what still hurts. But I want to be the kind of person who celebrates freely, who does not measure someone else's joy against my own lack, who can clap with full hands, not closed fists. Give me the grace to dance with those who dance, even while I am still in process. Let shared joy become sacred instead of threatening. Let me also be honest about the joy I feel. I have grown used to holding my grief with reverence, but I have often hidden my joy out of shame. What if others do not understand? What if they think I have moved on too quickly? What if they think I no longer care? But hiding joy does not protect it. It only prevents it from doing what it was made to do, multiply. Let me speak joy aloud. Let me welcome it without qualification. Let me honor it as a gift, not a guilt. Father, thank you for the permission to enjoy what is good even when all is not perfect. Thank you for the grace that does not require everything to be resolved before celebration begins. Thank you for reminding me that the ability to feel joy is not weakness or ignorance, it is strength. It is trust. It is evidence that healing is taking root, even if slowly, and even if joy feels unfamiliar. Even if it feels like a risk, I choose to let it in. Today, I will not apologize for smiling. I will not brace for the worst. I will not sabotage the sweetness of this moment by trying to predict what might go wrong. I will simply receive what is good and let it be enough for now. One breath, one glimpse of beauty, one burst of laughter, one thread of light winding through the middle of my story. That is holy, that is healing, that is joy. And I say yes, Lord. Joy arrived like a quiet sunrise, gentle, unannounced, almost shy. I let it in, uncertain at first, holding my breath as if it might vanish with the next shadow. But it stayed, even in the middle of unresolved stories. And now, as I stand in this rare lightness, I find myself asking a deeper question. Not just how to receive joy, but how to remain open when the winds shift again, because joy is vulnerable. It stretches the heart, and I have known what it feels like for that stretched heart to crack. So I need your help now, not just to rejoice, but to stay soft when joy feels threatened by reality. Father, I have closed myself off before, not all at once, but slowly. One disappointment, one broken trust, one unanswered prayer at a time. I did not mean to build walls. I thought I was just protecting what was left, but in guarding my heart from sorrow, I also shut out joy, connection, laughter, even love. I told myself I was safe behind those walls, but I was not living, I was surviving. And you, in your kindness, have led me here, to this new place of tenderness. I do not want to go backward. I do not want to unfeel again. So teach me how to keep my heart open. Not recklessly, not without wisdom, but bravely. deliberately. Teach me how to stay soft in a world that can be sharp. Teach me how to live exposed to beauty, even when beauty reminds me of what I once lost. Let joy deepen me, not make me afraid of its ending. Let hope stretch me, even if it is messy. Let love be something I offer, not something I reserve for when it feels safe again. God, I know now that strength is not in my ability to harden. Strength is in my capacity to remain tender. The strongest people I know are not the ones who never cry, they are the ones who cry and still show up, who risk love again, who believe again, who open their arms again. I want to be that kind of person, and I know it will require grace beyond my own. It will require your steadying voice when fear comes to call again, whispering warnings dressed in wisdom. Let me hear you louder than the fear. When a painful memory returns, help me not to shut down. Let me greet it gently, with compassion. Like an old friend, I no longer need to obey. When someone's words sting, help me not to let my heart retreat. Let me feel it, process it, and still move forward. When disappointment brushes against something I hoped for, help me not to armor up. Let me stay in the moment. Let me grieve it without burying myself under it. Let me remember that every open heart is bound to hurt sometimes, but that is not the end of the story. Father, let me be the kind of person who is still moved by kindness, who still stops at beauty, who still pauses to laugh, who still cries in movies, who still sends the text, who still chooses wonder. Let me not become cynical in the name of discernment. Let me not become numb in the name of control. Let me not become hardened in the name of wisdom. You are wisdom, and you are never hard. You are holy, and you are endlessly tender. And when I encounter others who are closed, help me not to judge. Maybe they have had to be. Maybe life was harder than they let on. Maybe silence became their safety. Instead of frustration, give me empathy. Instead of matching their distance, give me gentleness. Let my openness be a quiet invitation, not a loud demand. Let me be patient with the timing of other hearts, the journey of other wounds. Let me remember that everyone is doing the best they can with what they carry. God, if I begin to notice myself retreating again, pulling back, going quiet, turning inward not because I need rest, but because I am afraid, remind me of what I have prayed today. Remind me that I have survived more than I thought I could, that I have felt deeply and am still standing, that I have chosen forgiveness when bitterness was easier, that I have risked joy and not been ruined by it. Let those truths anchor me. Let them remind me that I am no longer who I used to be. Thank you for how far you have brought me. Thank you for every closed door you have gently knocked on until I opened again. Thank you for not rushing me. Thank you for not forcing transformation, but walking with me into it. Thank you for showing me that healing is not just about feeling better, it's about becoming more whole, more human, more open to you and to the people you have placed in my life. Today, as I walk into the world with this open heart, I know I will be vulnerable to all of it, the joy, the awkwardness, the beauty, the sting. But I would rather feel it all than feel nothing. I would rather be open to life than merely observing it from behind a wall. You created me to engage, to embrace, to experience. You designed my soul not for self-protection, but for divine connection. So I say yes again, to risk, to softness, to joy, to hope, to a love that is not afraid to break, because it knows you can rebuild. Let this be my quiet rebellion against bitterness. Let this be my small act of defiance against apathy. Let this be my declaration that even in a world of loss, I will still be someone who feels, who reaches, who loves. Let my heart become a safe place, not because it is guarded, but because it is grounded in you. Steady, soft, and brave, ready to stay open. Even now, Father, as you continue to steady my open heart, I feel you leading me even further outward. This journey began with me, my wounds, my story, my healing, but I can sense now that it was never meant to stay only within me. You have opened places in me, not just so I could breathe again, but so I could become a safe space for others to do the same. You are asking me to carry what you have poured into me and let it overflow, not with pressure, but with presence, not with answers, but with availability. And I say yes, even though it humbles me. Lord, there was a time when I thought healing was a personal project, a quiet, internal restoration between you and me. But now I see that healing is communal. It ripples. It extends. The way we listen, the way we speak, the way we sit with others in their process. That is where healing continues. That is where it becomes more than survival. That is where it becomes legacy. And I want to be part of that. I want my life to be a place where others feel safe enough to take off their armor and be seen as they are. God, make me a person who does not rush others through pain, who does not diagnose or fix or advise before I have listened, who does not quote truth as a shield from sitting with discomfort. Let me become the kind of friend who holds space like you do with patience. Without panic, without needing to make things neat. Some people just need to be heard. Some just need a presence that stays. I want to offer that. I want my posture to say, you are safe here. Your process is allowed. You do not have to be okay to be loved. Remind me how powerful it is to simply sit beside someone and not look away. Remind me that sometimes silence is the most sacred response, that crying with someone is holy, that asking questions is braver than giving advice. Let me be deeply aware of how tender the human heart is, and let me treat it as such. Let me speak gently, not because I am afraid of breaking others, but because I respect how hard it is to trust again. Let every word I offer be soaked in kindness. Father, help me not to project my own journey onto others. Just because something helped me does not mean it is their next step. Just because I have moved past a season does not mean they are ready to leave theirs. Let me honor their timeline. Let me bless their pace. Let me celebrate their tiny victories without pushing for bigger ones. Teach me how to walk beside, not ahead, to support without steering, to encourage without directing. This is not about leading. This is about loving. God, remind me that people are not projects. They are not assignments to complete or puzzles to solve. They are mysteries to be honored, souls to be treasured, journeys to be witnessed. Let me not carry a savior complex. I am not here to rescue. I am here to reflect the safety I have found in you, the gentleness that changed me, the grace that waited for me. If I can be even a small echo of that, then that is enough. And Lord, help me to remain safe even when others are not ready to receive it. When my presence is misinterpreted, when my silence is questioned, when my kindness is rejected, let me not harden in response. Let me not retreat into self-protection. Let me remain rooted in you. Centered, calm, compassionate. This is not about being needed. It is about being faithful. Let me leave outcomes in your hands. Let me offer love without strings. Help me recognize the people around me who are quietly breaking. The ones who hide it well. The ones who joke to deflect. The ones who stay busy so they do not have to feel. Help me see past their masks. Help me love them without confronting what they are not ready to face. Let my consistency speak louder than my questions. Let my gentleness reach places where words can go. Let my being present be the answer to prayers they have not yet said aloud. Father, if I am ever trusted with someone's pain, let me treat it like sacred ground. Let me honor the courage it took for them to speak. Let me never minimize what they carry. Let me never offer cliches where compassion is needed. Let me never rush to closure when what they need is space. Teach me to discern when to speak and when to simply stay. Make me a refuge for those in process, just as you have been for me. And when someone's healing offends my timeline, or their breakthrough makes me feel behind, let me not compare. Let me bless their progress without turning it into a mirror for my own pace. There is no competition in the kingdom, only stories unfolding in their own rhythm, only lives being slowly stitched back together by unseen hands. Let me marvel at their healing without resenting my own wounds. Let me celebrate their joy without questioning my path. Let me rejoice freely, even when I am still waiting. God, I know I will not always get this right. I will say the wrong thing. I will miss the moment. I will speak when I should have stayed silent. I will stay quiet when I should have offered something more. But let my heart remain soft. Let me always return. Let me apologize quickly. Listen again. Keep learning. This is not about perfection, it is about presence. Let my imperfection never keep me from trying again. Let me be humble enough to grow, bold enough to show up anyway. Thank you for the people who were safe places for me, for the ones who saw me at my worst and did not flinch, for the ones who stayed when I was guarded, for the ones who whispered truth when I could not hear it from anyone else. Let me carry their legacy forward. Let me be to someone what they were to me, a resting place, a gentle reminder, a quiet light. Today, I do not ask to be impressive. I ask to be trustworthy. I do not ask for platform or recognition. I ask for sensitivity and sincerity. Let me see people through the lens of their becoming, not just their behavior. Let me love them through the process, not around it. My presence say what words cannot. You are still worth loving in this moment, exactly as you are. And you do not have to heal alone. God, I can feel it in my chest, that quiet ache that comes not from failure, but from offering something costly and not knowing where it will land. After becoming safe for others to heal, after reaching with open hands and softened heart, I am beginning to face the part I have long avoided, the surrender of outcomes. It is one thing to love, to give, to hold space, but it is another thing entirely to let go of what comes next, to love without tying it to a response, to speak truth without needing it to be received, to plant without demanding a harvest. And this morning, you are calling me into that place of holy surrender. Father, I confess I still want to know how it all turns out. I still want to trace the lines between what I gave and what will return. I still look for signs that what I have done made a difference, that the tenderness was not wasted, that the effort mattered. But you are gently loosening my grip on results. You are teaching me that faithfulness is not proven by outcomes, It is revealed in obedience, in the simple, quiet, unseen act of doing the right thing without needing to be rewarded for it, in the willingness to pour out love and let it go. Lord, this goes deeper than I realized. There are relationships I poured into where nothing seemed to shift, conversations I prayed would heal, but ended with more silence. Apologies I offered that were not acknowledged. Forgiveness I extended that did not bring closeness. And somewhere deep inside, I started wondering if any of it counted. But you are reminding me now it all counts. Every act of grace, every moment of humility, every small, unseen step toward healing. They do not disappear into nothing. They are seeds in your hands, and you are the one who grows what I cannot. Let me live as a sower today, not a scorer, not a collector, not a keeper of tally marks, but a quiet, faithful planter of mercy, grace, honesty, and kindness. Let me walk through this day scattering what you have placed in me, not looking over my shoulder to see what takes root, but trusting that you are at work in places I will never see. I do not want to live on outcomes. I want to live on offerings, on the joy of being used by you. However quietly, however slowly, God, help me untangle my worth from results. I have tied my identity to productivity, to approval, to impact. But worth does not grow in applause. It grows in intimacy with you, and you do not measure my value by who responds, who notices, or who changes because of me. You already called me beloved, already chosen, already yours. I do not need to prove anything. I only need to remain faithful. And that frees me to give without strings, to love without hooks, to serve without fear of being unseen. Father, show me the beauty of hiddenness. Let me not fear the quiet work that no one applauds. Let me learn to love the silence that follows surrender, not because it confirms failure, but because it confirms trust. You see what no one else sees. You count what no one else counts. And you are never wasteful. Even the tears I shed in private, even the offerings I thought went unnoticed, they are sacred to you. Not one of them is lost. Remind me that the outcome belongs to you. That healing, reconciliation, change, growth, these are not mine to manufacture. They are yours to author. I can plant and water, but only you make things grow. So let me find joy not in results, but in obedience, not in applause, but in alignment. Let me feel peace not when things are fixed, but when I have followed where you have asked me to go. Lord, if I am tempted to withhold love until it is guaranteed to be received, pull me back to you. Remind me that love is always a risk, but it is also always the right thing. Let me not become strategic with my compassion. Let me not calculate how much to give based on how much I expect in return. Let me be lavish with grace. Let me love in ways that make no sense, simply because that is how you love me. And when disappointment comes, when things do not unfold the way I hoped, when the conversation falls flat, when the silence remains, help me not to spiral into shame or doubt. Help me return to you. Let me lay it all down again and say, this is yours, not mine to carry, not mine to fix, not mine to mourn over. I offered it in love. That was enough. Father, teach me how to celebrate obedience, how to rejoice in simply doing what you asked. Regardless of what followed, let the freedom of surrender feel fuller than the thrill of success. Let the peace of knowing I was faithful carry me further than the temporary high of being noticed or affirmed. Let me measure my days not by what came back to me, but by what flowed through me. Thank you for reminding me that surrender is not weakness. It is strength of the deepest kind. The kind that walks into the unknown and says yes anyway. The kind that loves without control. The kind that gives without fear. Thank you for lifting the weight of responsibility off my shoulders. I was never meant to carry results, only to carry your heart into every room I enter. Today, I choose to surrender again, not out of resignation, but out of reverence. I lay down the storylines I have tried to script, the conversations I have tried to control, the outcomes I have begged to go a certain way. I offer them all back to you, the author, the gardener, the healer, the one who sees, and I walk forward, open-handed, ready to give, ready to bless, ready to live from the deep well of grace you have filled in me, without needing anything in return. That is the life I want, a life of offering, a life of freedom, a life surrendered and full. Father, surrendering the outcome has left me standing in a different kind of space, one I can rush, control, or predict. It is the space of waiting. Not passive, not empty, but deeply alive. Still, it challenges me. Waiting stretches places in me that healing only began to touch. It reveals what I truly believe about you, about time, about myself. And now, you are inviting me to not just tolerate this season, but to inhabit it, to lean into the weight, not as a punishment, but as part of the offering itself. Lord, waiting tests the muscles I am still building. The patience I prayed for sounds poetic in hindsight, but it feels raw in practice. I want to see things unfold. I want to know where this leads. I want to feel like something is moving. But you are showing me that waiting is movement, just not the kind I can measure. It is the slow shift happening beneath the surface, the quiet shaping of my inner life, while the external remains unchanged. It is not a delay, it is design. And even now, you are working. God, there are things I have laid before you that remain untouched by resolution. Prayers whispered long ago still hang in the air. Relationships I have released still linger in my mind. Dreams I have surrendered still knock on my heart some days. And though I have trusted you with them, the silence stirs questions. Is it still okay to hope? Is this still mine to carry in faith? Or have I mistaken desire for calling? I bring those questions to you today, not to demand answers, but to remain close as I ask them. Help me wait well, Lord, not with bitterness disguised as strength, not with apathy pretending to be peace, but with quiet expectancy, with gentle hands that remain open, with a soul that does not grip timelines or build case files. Let the waiting purify my desires. Let it soften my edges. Let it humble what pride remained. Let it remove the noise that told me value was measured by pace. I want to become someone who walks slowly enough to notice what you're doing while I wait. Father, when waiting feels lonely, remind me that I am not abandoned. So often I equate silence with absence. But you are not far when you are quiet. You are near in ways that defy language. You are present in the delay. You are in the moments when nothing happens, and in the places where nothing makes sense. Let my spirit become more attuned to your stillness. Let me hear your presence in the spaces between what I long for and what you have chosen to reveal. Teach me not to fill the waiting with distractions, I confess that I often reach for noise when the stillness becomes too loud. I scroll. I plan. I grasp for something tangible. But you are inviting me to stay present, to not numb the H, to let it teach me something about where I still struggle to trust. Not because you want to expose me, but because you want to hold me there, in the space I keep trying to skip over. You are forming something holy. Lord, waiting has also revealed how deeply I compare. I watch others step into the very things I am still believing for. I rejoice with them. Truly. But underneath, there is a quiet H. A question. A wondering if I was forgotten or if I misheard you altogether. Remind me again that timing is not a sign of favoritism. That what you are doing in me is not behind, it is just different. That the rhythm you have chosen for my life is sacred, even when it does not sync with those around me. Let my waiting be filled with worship, not performance, not striving, but worship, a life laid open before you in trust. Let my posture reflect surrender, not weariness. Let my words reflect hope, not cynicism. Let my presence reflect peace, even in the uncertainty. I want to be someone who waits with grace, someone whose faith does not expire when the calendar does, someone who remains anchored even when the waters stay still. Father, if I begin to grow discouraged again, bring to mind the ways you have already met me, the prayers you answered quietly, the changes you worked in me without fanfare, the things I forgot I once longed for. Let those reminders be stones of remembrance I carry in my pocket when today feels empty, and when I forget to believe again. Let your belief in me hold steady. You never stop working, even when I can see it. Let that be enough for today. Let me also hold space for others who are waiting. Let me not rush them to resolution just because silence makes me uncomfortable. Let me be the kind of friend who does not need answers to stay present, who does not offer timelines in place of tenderness. Let me sit with them in the sacred unknown and remind them by my presence alone that waiting is not wasted, that they are not forgotten, that hope can live even here. God, help me to keep showing up to my life while I wait, to cook meals, to laugh when it bubbles up, to water plants and answer emails, and do ordinary things without seeing them as filler. This is still part of the story. This is still sacred ground. Let me live like someone who believes that. Let me rest like someone who knows time is in your hands, not mine. Let me love the life in front of me without resenting the pieces I am still waiting for. Thank you for being the kind of God who does not rush me, who does not scold me for longing, who does not measure my faith by how still I can sit. You know when I fidget. You know when I ache. And still, you stay. Still, you remain. Still, you work in ways that will make sense later. Help me believe that. Help me breathe into that. Today, I offer you not just the dreams and relationships I hope will be restored, but the space between now and then. I offer you the tension, the slowness, the repetition of days that look the same. I offer you the ache I can't articulate. I offer you the gap between prayer and fulfillment. And I trust that this offering, too, is holy. This waiting is not wasted. You are in it, and that makes it sacred. Father, as I learn to wait with grace, I sense you inviting me even deeper into the quietest parts of trust. Not just trust for outcomes, not just for the things I can name or hope for, but trust in you for the unseen places. The ones I am not even aware need surrender. The things I do not understand yet. The healing I did not realize I needed. The work you are doing in others that I cannot see. This morning, you are asking me to let go not only of control, but of the illusion that I must even be aware of what you're doing to believe you are good. Lord, I have grown so used to looking for evidence. I watch for signs that prayers are being answered. I lean in for small confirmations. I want progress I can point to. But you are reminding me that so much of your work happens in the invisible, in the places beneath the surface, in the quiet moments no one documents. That truth unsettles something in me, because I still equate visibility with validity, but real faith trusts what is hidden. It leans into what can be measured. And you are teaching me to live in that space. God, I often think of others, the people I have prayed for, reached out to, cried over, and I wonder what you are doing in them, especially when I see no change. No response. No indication that anything is shifting. I begin to feel helpless. I begin to believe maybe my prayers are not enough. Or maybe I heard you wrong. But you are not asking me to carry their transformation. You are asking me to keep loving. Keep praying, and trust that you are moving in ways I cannot access. You remind me that you are never idle. You are always at work, even when it is slow, even when it is silent. Help me release the need to witness everything, to believe something is happening. You have not called me to monitor miracles. You have called me to be faithful. Sometimes that means loving someone who won't to let me in. Sometimes that means showing up when the fruit is not visible. Sometimes it means staying consistent when the echo is quiet. Teach me how to rest in that space, not to rush it, not to perform within it, but to breathe there, knowing you are not only present, but orchestrating what I cannot see. Father, I also think about the areas in my own life where I have felt stuck. I have asked you for clarity, for healing, for strength. I have surrendered again and again. Yet still, there are places in me that seem untouched, fears that linger, patterns that persist. I wonder if something is wrong with me, if I am resisting unknowingly. But you are so patient. You are showing me that just because I do not feel transformation does not mean it is not happening. Sometimes healing is like sunrise. It appears slowly, then all at once. Let me trust the process you are writing inside of me. Let me believe that you are working on layers too deep for me to name. Let me hold hope for the parts of me that are still in formation, the parts that do not yet reflect who I want to be. I do not want to rush past them or shame them. I want to meet them with the same gentleness you do, because you are not frustrated with my pace. You are invested in my wholeness. Lord, I surrender the unseen within my relationships, the hearts I have tried to reach, but still feel distant from, the apologies I have waited for, the healing I have hoped for in places where words have failed. I have rehearsed those conversations. I have tried to imagine how they will unfold. But you are asking me to let them go, to trust that you are working behind curtains I can draw back, to believe that even in silence, seeds are germinating, that even in delay, something holy is unfolding. I also bring you the future I cannot predict, the dreams I have barely spoken, the longings I can explain, the people I have not met yet, the paths I have not walked. You already see the story in full, while I only glimpse today. I want to trust you with the pages I have not read, not just the outcomes, but the unknowns, the turns I can anticipate, the doors that will open, the ones that will close. Teach me to walk by faith, not only in action, but in expectation. And Lord, remind me that even the invisible work is sacred, the changes no one claps for, the quiet victories, the internal shifts, the battles that end with a whisper instead of a bang. Let me celebrate those. Let me recognize holiness in what is quiet. Let me not overlook the subtle simply, because it is small. You are a God who meets people in wildernesses, who whispers in caves, who works while we sleep. Let me find comfort in knowing I do not need to track every detail. I just need to stay close to you. Let me also give others the grace to grow unseen. I do not want to hold people hostage to who they were the last time I spoke to them. I do not want to assume nothing has changed just because I have not witnessed the change. Help me believe that you are working in their unseen too, that the people I have prayed for are not beyond reach, that my prayers are not bouncing off walls, that you are faithful to finish what you have begun in them, just as you are in me. Father, let my trust be quiet and steady. Let it not need to be loud or public. Let it anchor me when doubt tries to rewrite the story. Let it carry me when I feel forgotten. Let it speak louder than fear, than silence, than delay. Let it remind me that what I see is never the whole picture, and that you are never limited by what I cannot see. You are the God of process, the God of soil, the God of seeds that break open in the dark. Today, I choose to live like someone who believes that. I choose to act with the calm of someone who knows the ground is moving even when it looks still. I choose to love like someone who trusts that every small offering matters, even when it is invisible. I choose to speak life over others, even when I see no signs of response. I choose to pray bold prayers, knowing that you are not intimidated by silence. I choose to remain faithful in the unseen, because that is where you do some of your most beautiful work. Father, as I learn to trust you with the unseen, something quiet but powerful is awakening inside me. Waiting has softened me. Healing has reshaped me. Forgiveness has cleared room within me. And now, I feel you gently shifting me from simply being restored to being ready. Not ready in a loud or dramatic way, but ready in soul, ready in willingness, ready in posture. You are asking me to step into the life you have been preparing all along, not with striving, but with surrender, not with fear, but with faith. And I feel the weight and beauty of that invitation. Lord, for so long I thought purpose was a destination, something distant, something earned, something announced, something, but now I see it differently. Purpose is woven into the ordinary. It is not just where I am going, it is how I walk there. It is how I speak, how I love, how I respond, how I forgive, how I serve. It is the kindness I offer to strangers, the grace I extend to those who hurt me, the patience I give myself on hard days. Purpose is not waiting for a perfect moment. It is alive in every moment I choose you over fear, love over pride, peace over retaliation, quiet obedience over control. God, give me courage to walking into what you have shaped within me. Sometimes I still feel unqualified. Sometimes I wonder if someone else would do it better. Sometimes I feel too scarred, too tired, too small to make any difference. But you remind me that purpose is not about being impressive. It is about being available. You do not ask for perfection. You ask for willingness. And when I look back, I see how you have been preparing me through the sorrow, through the softness, Through the surrender, nothing was wasted. Not the tears, not the silence, not the prayers I whispered when I did not know if you heard. Every moment became part of the shaping. Father, help me walk forward without waiting to feel worthy. Worthiness is not something I earn, it is something you declare. Let that truth silence every voice that tells me I am not enough. Let it quiet the insecurity that tries to shrink me. Let it steady the trembling parts of my soul. I do not want to wait for confidence before I move. I want to move because I trust you, even when confidence feels thin. If you send me, I will go. If you ask, I will answer. If you call, I will step out, even if my knees shake. Lord, remind me that purpose is not proven by outcomes I can see. Sometimes planting looks like failure. Sometimes obedience looks like silence. Sometimes love looks like loss. But if you asked me to do it, that makes it success. Let me measure nothing by applause and everything by obedience. Let me not chase influence when you are teaching me intimacy. Let me not long for recognition when you are inviting me into hidden faithfulness. Purpose is not in being seen, it is in seeing others. Purpose is not in being celebrated, is in being surrendered. And Father, if walking in my purpose means leaving old versions of myself behind, help me not to cling to what you have already healed me from. I do not want to shrink back into familiar pain just because it is comfortable. I do not want to answer to who I was when you are calling me into I am becoming. Let me outgrow shame without feeling guilty. Let me step into joy without apologizing for it. Let me embrace maturity without fearing it will separate me from others. You can be trusted with every evolution of my heart. God, remind me that purpose has room for rest, that I do not have to burn out to prove I care, that I do not have to do everything to matter. Some days my purpose will look like boldness. Some days it will look like patience. Some days it will look like quiet endurance. Some days it will simply look like gratitude. Purpose is not pressure, it is partnership with you. And partnership means I do not carry this alone. Let me walk into relationships with purpose. Let my presence bring peace, not chaos. Encouragement, not fear. Acceptance, not judgment. Let my words speak life. Let my silence speak love. Let my decisions reflect wisdom. And when I fail, I will let me be quick to repair, quick to apologize, quick to correct course. Purpose is not perfection. It is persistence in becoming more like you. Father, when I meet people whose stories are heavy, let me carry compassion without trying to fix them. When I meet people who are angry or guarded, let me not absorb their fire, but offer calm. When I meet people who feel forgotten, let them feel seen near me. Let my life be evidence of you, not because I preach loudly, but because I love deeply. Let the way I live be the sermon. Let the way I treat people be the ministry. Let the way I endure be the testimony. And if purpose ever feels overwhelming, bring me back to this truth. You are the one who opens doors. You are the one who leads steps. You are the one who gives strength. All I must do is follow. You are not waiting for me to impress you. You are asking me to trust you. That is lighter. That is freer. That is holy. So today, I step forward not because I have every answer, but because you walk with me. I will move slowly but steadily, gently but boldly. I will show up where you place me, speak where you lead me, love where you send me, and I will trust that every step, every small act of obedience, every moment lived with surrender, is purpose in motion. I am ready not because I am strong, but because you are. not because I know the way, but because you go before me. Not because life is simple, but because grace is enough. Father, as I step deeper into what you have been preparing, I feel a quiet confidence beginning to rise. Not the kind the world talks about, not loud or flashy or rooted in achievement, but something more sacred, more grounded, something that comes not from knowing every answer, but from knowing you are with me. It is the assurance that I do not walk alone, that everything I have passed through, every valley, every silence, every surrender was not just for survival. It was for shaping, for preparation, for align with what you have always intended for my life. And now you are asking me to walk in that purpose, not in fear, but in faith. Lord, for so long I have asked you to reveal my purpose like a roadmap. I have wanted certainty before movement, confirmation before obedience. But you have been teaching me that divine purpose is more about presence than destination. It is not something I wait to arrive at, it is something I walk in. Right here, right now. It looks like choosing love over fear, like showing up when it is easier to withdraw, like listening when I want to speak, like forgiving when I want to hold on. You are showing me that purpose is not something I perform. It is someone I become. God, let me not confuse activity with calling. There are so many things I could chase, so many doors I could knock on, but I do not want to run ahead of you. I do not want to build what you are not in. I do not want to carry assignments you have not given me. I only want to walk where you lead, even if the steps seem small, even if the way feels quiet, even if no one claps. I trust you are not measuring the size of what I do, but the posture in which I do it. If you are in it, it matters, and if you are not, it does not. Father, keep me sensitive to your direction. Let my heart stay soft enough to be redirected. Let my ego stay small enough to follow. I do not want to become so committed to what I thought purpose looked like that I miss where you are actually moving. Purpose may not look like stages or platforms or titles. It might look like silence, like presence, like one person being loved well, like a seed sown in secret, like a prayer whispered for someone who may never know I interceded. Let me not miss the sacred by chasing the seen. Help me carry this purpose with humility, not as a badge, but as a burden of love, not as an identity, but as a response to grace. Let me walk into rooms as a servant, not as someone waiting to be celebrated. Let my value be rooted in you, not in the validation of others. Let my confidence come from quiet mornings like this one, where I remember who I am not because of what I do, but because of who you have always been. God, if purpose asks me to remain unseen for a while longer, let me stay hidden with joy. Let me trust that obscurity can be holy, that not being noticed can be protective, that intimacy with you in the quiet is never wasted. Let me not rush to visibility if you are still forming things in private. Let me be patient with the process. Let me value the deep work of becoming over the fleeting praise of arrival. And if walking in purpose means facing new fears, new challenges, new stretching, I will not run. You have walked me through too much for me to turn back now. I trust you to provide what I need as I move. The words, the strength, the wisdom, the favor, the correction, the doors, the people. You are my source. Not opportunity, not timing, not strategy. You, if you send me, you will sustain me. Father, let divine purpose reach into the smallest details of my life. Let it shape the way I start my mornings, the way I speak to my family, the way I respond to inconvenience, the way I treat strangers. Let my daily rhythm become an offering. Let my ordinary choices echo eternity. Let my yes to you today become a ripple that outlasts me. I do not want to just live, I want to live surrendered, aligned, awake to the holy ground beneath my feet. When the road gets difficult, remind me that obedience will sometimes look like loss before it looks like victory. That purpose often leads through pruning. That fruit takes time. Let me not grow weary when the harvest is slow. Let me not compare my path to someone else's. You write unique stories, and mine is beautiful because you are the author. Give me discernment to know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to step in and when to step back, when to move and when to wait. I do not want to be led by impulse or by fear, but by the quiet conviction of your spirit. Let my ears be tuned to you above all the noise. Let my heart remain willing, even when it costs me comfort, even when it costs me familiarity, even when it costs me praise. And when doubts whisper again, when I question whether this matters, whether I am qualified, whether I am strong enough, remind me that you chose me, knowing every weakness. You called me before I had it all together, and you delight in using the weak things of this world to confound the wise. If you place something in my hands, it is because you believe it can bless someone else. Let me steward that trust with reverence. Thank you for not wasting anything, not the pain, not the detours, not the seasons I thought disqualified me. Every tear, every setback, every lesson became part of the foundation. And now, as I step into what is next, I do so with peace, with gratitude, with boldness not born from certainty, but from communion. You are with me. You go before me. You are in me, and that is enough. Father, as I continue walking in what you have prepared, I realize purpose is not a single moment I step into, but a posture I carry every day. You have been guiding me gently, reshaping how I understand calling, not as a platform or performance, but as a way of being with you. Wherever you have placed me, this journey has not been about arrival, but about deepening. And even now, as I take each step with a heart that has been softened by surrender, I know I am not stepping into something I created. I am stepping further into who you always knew I was becoming, God. It is humbling to think that divine purpose is not something I earn, but something I align with, not something I unlock by striving harder, but something I recognize as already woven through the places I have been and the pain I have endured. You have shown me that my purpose is not limited to my talents or my past or even my dreams. It is found in every moment I choose truth over comfort, compassion over pride, presence over distraction. I do not need to know the full plan to be faithful with what is in my hands today. Lord, I used to wait for clarity to feel confident. I thought I needed perfect understanding to be useful. But you are showing me that clarity comes in motion, that as I walk, the next step appears, that obedience opens doors understanding cannot. I do not need to see the whole staircase, just the step in front of me. And if that step looks like listening instead of speaking, waiting instead of acting, loving instead of correcting, I trust you enough to walk it fully. Father, I confess there are still parts of me that resist the ordinary. I still sometimes want to do something that feels big enough to matter, but you keep drawing my eyes to the simple things, the unseen things, the gentle ways you use small seeds to grow mighty trees. You are teaching me to treasure the moments that go unnoticed by the world, but echo through heaven when I choose forgiveness again, when I speak encouragement without expecting anything back, when I hold silence instead of defensiveness, when I serve with no audience but you. Let my purpose today look like gentleness. Let it look like grace. Let it be visible in how I treat those closest to me, not just those watching from a distance. Let it be felt in the tone of my words, in the timing of my responses, in the intention behind my actions. Let it be the kind of purpose that brings peace into rooms, not pressure, that makes people feel lighter, not smaller, that reminds others they are seen, valued, held, even when I do not speak your name. God, I no longer ask for a life that impresses others. I ask for a life that reflects you. Even if I never get the recognition I once thought I needed. Even if the deepest things I do are the ones no one ever knows about. Even if the purpose I walk in looks nothing like what I imagine, but everything like what you designed. Let it be enough. Let it be sacred. Let it be steady. Help me recognize the divine in the details, when I hold a door open, when I remember someone's name, when I show up even when I am tired, when I choose not to respond in anger. Remind me that you are in those moments, that they are not wasted, that they are not small. They are the very texture of a purposeful life. Father, keep me from confusing urgency with importance. I do not want to chase a pace you never asked me to match. I want to walk slowly enough to hear your voice, to feel your nudges, to notice what others miss. I want to move with intention, not reaction, to live from depth, not from pressure, to remember that purpose is not about doing more, but about doing the right things with love. And when I am tempted to compare my walk with someone else's, when I start to question whether I am doing enough or becoming enough, draw me back. Show me again that purpose is not one size fits all, that you are not replicating lives, but writing unique stories, and that I can celebrate theirs without diminishing mine. I do not want to compete, I want to honor. I do not want to measure, I want to be faithful. Let my eyes stay on you, not on anyone else's path. Lord, I ask that you give me endurance for this journey, not just energy for the moments that are exciting or fulfilling, but strength for the days that are long and unseen. Let me be consistent when no one claps. Let me keep loving when it is costly. Let me keep showing up when I feel empty. Let me trust that you are working through every small yes I offer. That purpose is not proved in one grand act, but in a life that keeps choosing you again and again. Help me walk through open doors without hesitation, and to walk away from closed ones without bitterness. Let me see both as guidance. Let me hear not yet as mercy, not rejection. Let me believe that delays are not the death of purpose, but the deepening of it. You are still preparing the places I will step into, just as you were preparing me when I did not understand what the waiting was for. Thank you for entrusting me with this life, with this heart, with these hands, with these relationships, with these moments. I do not take them lightly. I want to steward them well. I want to carry them with reverence. Let me live each day as a response to grace, not as a chase to matter, but as an overflow of already being loved. Let purpose be the rhythm I walk to, not the weight I drag behind me. Let it free me, not define me. Let it move me forward, not wear me down. Let it be your invitation each morning, whispering softly that my life, just as it is, surrendered and sincere, still holds space for something eternal to unfold. And today, again, I say yes. Father, as this journey of morning prayer comes to its final breath, I do not feel an ending. I feel a quiet unfolding, not a door closing, but a window gently opening to a wider sky. You have walked me through shadows, lifted my gaze, steadied my soul, softened places that once felt too hardened to feel again. And now, here in the hush of another dawn, I recognize this has never been just a series of words. It has been a returning to myself, a returning to you, a daily rhythm of release and receiving, a slow and sacred healing, a quiet, holy beginning. Lord, I look back and remember where we started, from places of pain, confusion, and longing, from the weight of unforgiveness, the ache of disconnection, the fear of being stuck forever, and step by step, you led me through silence, through stillness, through surrender. You taught me to breathe again, to hope again, to move forward without needing every answer. You made space for grief, for joy, for anger, for rest, for forgiveness. You sat with me when I could not speak. You stayed when I was ready to run. You reminded me, again and again, that I was not forgotten. God, through every chapter, you peeled away the need to perform, to prove, to earn love, and you replaced it with presence, with peace, with the kind of love that simply stays. You showed me that transformation is not a single moment, but a daily offering, that healing is not a straight path, but a tender returning. You never rushed me. You never scolded me. You let me come undone and find safety in your hands. You let me sit still until I remembered how to stand again. And now, I find myself ready not because I have arrived, but because I have learned to live from a place of being held. My purpose is no longer a weight. It is a rhythm. My voice is no longer afraid. It is honest. My heart is no longer guarded. It is open. My story is no longer defined by shame. It is shaped by redemption. I do not need every answer to begin. I do not need every fear to disappear before I move. I simply need to remember that you are with me, in every room, every decision, every sunrise. Father, for the person listening now, still unsure of what healing looks like, still waiting for peace to feel real, I ask that you meet them gently. Let them know it is okay to be unfinished. It is okay to be in process. Let them feel the quiet truth that they are not too late, not too broken, not too much to be loved. Remind them they do not have to become someone else to be embraced by you. They only have to be honest and willing and open. The rest will come. You will walk with them just as you walked with me. Let this final breath of prayer become their first step into something new. Let them carry pieces of these mornings into every corner of their day, into every moment where faith feels thin, into every conversation that requires grace, into every stretch of silence where hope feels distant. Let these words live in their bones, not as a script to follow, but as a rhythm to return to, not as a map, but as a reminder that faith is not a destination, it is a direction, that healing is not pressure, it is permission, that love does not have to be earned, it only has to be received. God, I thank you for every person who showed up here, who made space in the early quiet to sit and breathe and let you in, who allowed their hearts to be softened, who brought their questions, their stories, their pain, their silence. I thank you for their courage to stay, to listen, to come back again and again. Even when the words were hard, even when the emotions rose unexpectedly, even when nothing outside them changed, but everything inside them did. I bless their journey. I bless their growth. I bless the soil you are still tending in secret places. And now, as this chapter closes, may they leave not with a sense of finality, but with a sense of rhythm, a gentle knowing that the conversation with you never really ends, it deepens. It evolves. It carries into the way we walk, the way we speak, the way we see each other. These prayers are not the end of something sacred. They are the daily beginning of a relationship that goes far beyond words, beyond rituals, beyond even belief. It is communion. It is love. It is home. So let them go forward now, not carrying obligation, but invitation to listen again tomorrow, to pause again in the stillness, to speak with honesty, to live with intention, to forgive more quickly, to trust more freely, to love without needing everything to be understood. Let them carry the morning with them, not as a time on the clock, but as a posture of the heart. And as the sun rises once more outside their window, may something rise within them too, a quiet faith, a deeper trust, a soft and steady strength. Not loud, not flashy, but real and rooted, like the morning light slowly stretching across the floor, warming what had gone cold, like a breeze lifting curtains in a room long closed, like living water flowing in a place that once felt dry. Thank you for walking this entire way with me. If these words have held you, if these mornings have steadied something inside your soul, I invite you to leave your own prayer below. A word, a sentence, a breath of your heart. Let us become a chorus of quiet hope for each other. If this journey has been meaningful to you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so we can continue meeting here in the stillness. Share this with someone who may need to remember they are not alone. And above all, keep returning, not to these words, but to the one who never stops waiting. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep walking. The light is still rising.